Gaming news today is all about surprising updates. First, Ubisoft may be saved from disaster as they form a subsidiary with the help of Tencent, but concerns still are looming about layoffs as well as future games from Ubisoft, and some think this may just be a stay of execution. We're going to look at what the details are, and then we'll obviously discuss it with the live audience. Second, updates to PSSR seem to be already in motion, and a game that just celebrated 3 million players, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is part of the recent push to work with Sony to improve PSSR implementation. Third, an update on Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet has a lot of people scratching their heads about the alleged release date, especially in light of something that Neil Druckmann just told IGN. And as always, I do have a game for your wish list and your radar. If you like these daily shows, if you're listening to this later, sort of as your background podcast, remember to hit that like button. That does help the video even when I'm not live. It really helps when I'm live. And if you want to support the channel directly, consider hitting the join button. I know YouTube is very not about that. YouTube is very much about just kind of watching the content, but we do this full time, and when you support the channel directly with the membership, it enables me to continue to add more shows and do extra content. So hit join, pick Member Plus. It's the $6 tier, and you get into all those extra shows. You get a longer talk show every day. So let's get into it. What exactly is going on with Ubisoft? Well, that's the big question, right? Are they saved? Well, maybe or maybe not. Nobody really knows exactly where this is going to head, but Tencent has acquired a new 25% stake in Ubisoft to help form a new gaming subsidiary. Now, this contains Ubisoft's biggest gaming IPs like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, and includes any future titles, the back catalog, and the development teams. Now, this is one of my primary concerns. This is what I was concerned about. No matter how well AC Shadows sold or performed, Ubisoft was looking at potentially selling IP and shutting down the studios, and that was a little bit scary because that could actually mean you're not going to get future titles for a long time, or that the quality of those future titles would be very poor. But it's not quite as simple as you might think. According to Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, employees are still nervous about potential layoffs, and an email from Ubisoft's chief studios and portfolio officer sounds an awful lot like PR corpo speak for layoffs are coming. Bear and get ready. This is in the line in particular I think that really stood out to me. They said the following, quote, "In the coming weeks and months, we will work hard to build the best organization possible for Ubisoft, for our teams, and for our players." Building an organization, you already have an organization, so what are you building exactly here? This sounds like restructuring, which typically means layoffs, is on the horizon. Hopefully not very many, and hopefully we don't see entire studios shuttered. At some level, this does feel like a best-case scenario. It would have been tragic in the wake of AC Shadows doing well, both with its commercial, critical, and user reception being quite strong, to then see the IP sold off and then the studios sort of left untethered and then likely shut down. The hope would be that this move with Tencent minimizes talent and production loss, but pain was unavoidable due to Ubisoft's downward drop since early 2021. Now, I have a video coming later today about Assassin's Creed Shadows and how it's not what you think. A lot of people are really misreading this, and it's very much related to this and the fate of Ubisoft. And speaking of AC Shadows, another thing that was a surprise update comes in the way of PSSR. Pulling from PlayStation Lifestyle, quote, "Ubisoft has confirmed that it's been working with Sony for several months to ensure that PSSR delivers an even better image quality, and the update should be available soon." And here is what they said. "PSSR is a new upscaler, and after an in-depth collaboration with Sony over the past few months, many issues have been addressed, mostly around moving vegetation and water problems that other titles have faced." Now, the exciting thing here is that Sony is working directly with developers to improve PSSR implementation, like when they worked with the Black Ops 6 devs to create anti-lag VRR for the PS5 Pro version of Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This, like the collaboration with AMD and Project Amethyst, should prove fruitful for future games, and PSSR continuing to improve, contrary to all of the false narratives and the lies and the false claims that, well, PSSR has failed, it's flopped, and it's being replaced. I would personally encourage you to stop watching and listening to people who have said that because they have an agenda and they're not being honest. The actual software is continuing to improve and will continue to improve in the future, making those people willfully dishonest and trying to mislead the public. Another dev just walked into the market and has falsified the notion that PSSR has failed, flopped, or as we saw, and we already dealt with this, we have a video about this, the truth about PSSR and how it's not being replaced or upgraded to FSR4, despite what a lot of the liars have claimed. Last but certainly not least, this was another surprising update. Intergalactic is allegedly coming in 2027, and this may come as a shock given when it was announced. But according to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, Intergalactic won't be landing in 2026, but is more likely landing in 2027. Now, this seems strange to announce the game in December of 2024 before you even announced Sorrows from Housemarque, and that's landing next year in 2026, and then to have Intergalactic landing later just seems a bit backwards. Also, according to Druckmann, the game is playable right now. He told IGN that, quote, "I will say we are playing it at the office and it's incredible. It's really good. I'm so excited to finally put gameplay out into the world and show people about it because we just showed you the very, very, very tip of the iceberg. The game goes pretty deep beyond that." None of those statements make any sense if this game's not landing for more than 2.5 years, roughly, like all of this year, all of next year, and then I'm assuming it would land at the earliest, like early 2027 if Jason Schreier has correct information. So you announce a game in December of 2024, it's internally playable in early 2025, but you can't have it ready to ship by late 2026. Jason Schreier's rarely wrong, but I feel like maybe he has an old timeline or old data. But for now, it seems like Intergalactic will be maybe a ways off from what everybody was expecting. And now, I do have a game for your wish list and your radar, and this one was shown again yesterday during the Nintendo Direct, and it is called Shadow Labyrinth. And yes, that's Pac-Man. This is a new take on Pac-Man, and you may recognize this if you watched the Secret Level episode. And this is releasing on the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox Series consoles, the PS5, and Steam on July 18th. It's a brand new Pac-Man game from Bandai Namco, and again, you may recognize the main character if you did watch that Secret Level episode. It's actually one of the more cool episodes there. They describe this as a 2D action platformer and a genre-twisting alternate take on Pac-Man. As Swordsman number 8, awoken by a floating yellow orb, Puck, you are chosen to become the instrument of its will, and to survive, you must eat. So gameplay, tone, art direction, I think it looks great, and it's going to be hitting all platforms on July 18th. So be sure to wishlist this one today, because Shadow Labyrinth, I think, looks like it combines a lot of great things and a lot of great fun. I, for one, am looking forward to this one. And again, I know sometimes you see these games, you see the fast, frenetic action and the animations, you're like, well, I don't want to necessarily play it on the Nintendo Switch. We don't know what it's going to look like or run on the Switch 2, but it is hitting PC and the other consoles. So, that's the news. Now it's time for the discussion. I've been trying to make those show opens a little bit shorter for you. I also try to go back and add those timestamps. If you appreciate those timestamps and all that extra work, remember to hit the like button to show appreciation for the daily shows and the daily content that we do here. We do have more segments coming today for the members. We have a Friday afternoon segment where I play a game with Hilly. We're working our way through Split Fiction. We're going to be hanging out with my wife tonight. You guys earned it last week, and we weren't able to do it because we went out of town for a wedding. So we'll probably just do some hanging out, some questions, some AMA, just chilling with her. It's almost like a podcast where she joins me, and then we're thinking about just jumping into some Jackbox with you guys. So that's a great reason to be here tonight. And go through that ritual of you got us the first 100 likes. Now let's set our sights on 200 likes. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's see here. I want to make sure people got adverts during that. Thank you for letting me know, Zuby. Guys, let us know. We're running an experiment. They have made some changes on YouTube, and we will adjust accordingly if you guys are feeling like you're getting kind of beat up by that. Let us know. Let us know. Is it just one? Is it multiples? Is it aggressive? Is it tolerable? And Han shot first, and so did you, Ward Huff, with the first gifted member of the day, and gets us to 334 on the week. Thank you guys so much. It was a quick 10-second. Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting us know. That's the first time I've seen an ad here mid-model. I know. We're running an experiment, so your feedback is very welcome. Please let us know. We very much want to care for and be mindful about your experience as the viewer. So thank you, and continue to let us know. And a gifted member from Joker Quinn, thank you so much. That bumps the line to 335, then it's going to go to 336 because DTM65 just hit 39 months of memberships. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel directly, DTM. I don't know if it's from a change that you made, but it comes up with a podcast menu in the YouTube TV app, and that is nice. Yeah, we're pleased to see that the Gaming News Today podcast is showing up on y'all's places. Super chat goal. Thank you so much, Dark Taco. Let me make sure and set the super chat goal. I will gift a member. You can make me add to the you can make me add to the member goal with your super chats. I know some of you guys prefer super chatting over gifting members. And Paco with 35 months and a VIP bumps the line. So obviously the front burner story here is Ubisoft, the Ubisoft Tencent deal. Not sure where you guys land on this one. Do you think this is going to be like saving Ubisoft? Like I feel like this is probably the best case scenario out of all of the bad things that could have happened. Thank you, I Am Melee, for 39 months and a VIP. You know, out of all the possible outcomes, the worst case scenario was going to be they just start selling off the IP to the highest bidder, and then they shutter studios. Thanks for the update, Ice Queen. You know, and they start shuttering studios. You know, there's elements, I think, to this that are always going to be disappointing when a company this size makes really poor decisions, and it results in loss of talent, loss of studios, potential loss of property. You know, that to me is a pretty significant bummer. This is probably the best case scenario that like Tencent stepped in and said, okay, well, we're gonna do a 25% stake in the company. We're gonna protect this property. We're gonna protect these studios. But it's not over, right? This will likely lead to restructuring. This will likely lead to layoffs. This is certainly not over. This is not like the confetti in the air celebration. I don't think there ever was going to be a confetti in the air celebration. Morning coffee didn't show up in my feed this morning, only the mainstream. That's a really great reason to hang out in the Discord and to always check your subscription page instead of just your homepage. The homepage is not super reliable. Neither are YouTube notifications. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of the bloat. Ubisoft just needs to be careful to make another failure. Well, you know, the Black Flag remake is allegedly coming. There's Assassin's Creed Hexe. You know, they just announced some new things with Rainbow Six Siege. Like, I don't really know what else they have on the horizon that could potentially give them a lot of revenue. Got an ad. Okay. So the concern with what YouTube was doing was that they were going to hit you guys too often. I'm not even getting an alert or a warning when they're doing it. So we're just going to run this experiment, and then I'll make a judgment call on what I think we should do, because if it's too disruptive, we're just going to have to figure out another way to do this. My biggest concern and worry is that YouTube wants you to do it, and if you don't do it, they're not going to put your videos out there. Like, our live stream reach has been terrible lately, and we think it's because they pushed out this new feature that we're not using. And if you don't use the feature, they're gonna sequester your stuff. Why not a Brotherhood remake? Well, I think they're going to go for one that's a little more recent, a little bit more recognizable. Like, I think a lot of people recognize Black Flag. I think it is one of the fan favorites. I also think, like, the more recent that it exists, the easier it probably is to do the remake or the remaster. And Mash with a VIP 21-month renewal. He says, and a 50 bomb from Mash. Thank you so much, Mash, for getting us to 339. Thanks for keeping your VIP here. And obviously, thank you for all that you do for the channel with all your generous gifting. Yeah, let's get this man a tag team partner today, man. This guy some weeks is very much carrying that member count on his back. So, and there he goes. He wasn't kidding. And a 50 bomb from Mash gets us all the way to 389. Just like that, the man himself Like I said, this dude needs a tag team partner, and the first super chat of the day comes in from WGC. Last of Us was revealed in 2016. It would have released 4 years later. Uncharted 4 was revealed in 2013. It released 3 years later. Intergalactic revealed 2025. 2027, 2028 sounds accurate. Okay, so your super chat is helpful perspective for sure, WGC, and I thank you for the $5, and I thank you for the perspective. Here's my pushback. PlayStation marketing has really shifted away from this whole thing of like announcing a game and then it shows up 4 years later. Like Saros was announced this year, it's coming next year, right? Yote was announced last year, it's coming this year. Death Stranding 2 was announced last year, it's coming this year. Lost Soul Aside was announced last year, it's coming this year. Like, I feel like they're really shrinking the marketing windows. Now, Naughty Dog may play by different rules. Maybe they play by different marketing strategies, and maybe they're more in control of marketing cadence, right? That's possible, okay? Wolverine. I feel like Wolverine's different because Wolverine was announced at the beginning of the gen. I think when you're casting a vision for the gen, that's different. It's like, yeah, we're doing Wolverine. We're doing Spider-Man 2, right? They cast this big, long vision. Ever since then, they have shortened all those windows, right? They've shortened all those windows. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Marvel has, like, stipulations about how long they want things to be, you know, marketed for. I mean, it's possible that played a role in Wolverine. I actually think Wolverine was just vision casting for the gen. I just think they were saying, listen, this gen's going to be awesome. Here's one of the games that we're making. And they throw that out there really, really early. And guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. Try to get us to 200 likes. We're still really early in the stream, and the quicker we do that, the better. I don't think Wolverine is indicative of how they've been marketing this gen. They've been marketing very, very short. Like if you look at Spider-Man 2, when they finally started showing it, and they finally started showing gameplay, it was like within the year that it was coming out. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West. A lot of these games were marketed very, very close to when they were actually coming out. And a $5 super chat from Mike on a Mic. Just started a new gig, driver development specialist, but still be here when I can. Good morning. Mike on a Mic with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, dude. Congrats on the new gig. Hopefully it's good for you. Naughty Dog literally said that they've been working on 2 single-player games this entire time when they canceled Factions last year. It's literally in the final paragraph of the blog. Media's memory. And Mike on a Mic with a gifted member makes it really easy for us to hit 400. He puts us a 10 bomb away. We'll see if anybody takes the glory and lands that plane. Currently, I owe you guys 10 members because of Mash's 50 bomb. That man needs a tag team partner. So, here, let me hang on. Good morning and afternoon, everybody here in the Discord. Sorry about that. I was muted in Discord, as I typically am. I always forget to do that. So, Naughty Dog, I don't think anybody's saying, like, Naughty Dog doesn't have anything. Jason Schreier of Bloomberg said that Intergalactic isn't going to show up until 2027. That's not like the media playing some spin move on Naughty Dog and ignoring the fact that they're working on other titles. I just saw a ton of headlines just this morning indicating that Naughty Dog is working on something else. So, given that reality, sure, they probably have other things in the pipeline. I'm just saying from Sony's perspective, from PlayStation's perspective, and how they market, I feel like they've been shortening marketing windows. Joker Quinn with the $5 super chat. Wife surgery went smoothly on to recovery. Good vibes were certainly felt. Well, we're so glad it went well. That's step one. That is step one. Have you considered a written checklist, Lono? I hear pilots swear by them. The written checklist wouldn't get consulted. I wouldn't look at it, sadly. I'm fine with that. 2027 if the game will be good. Thank you guys for all the good vibes for Joker Quinn's wife's surgery, man. That's always a little scary, whether it's knee surgery, back surgery, or something even more major than that. I mean, that's always a little bit of a nerve-wracking ordeal. So, good to see that camaraderie here. Naughty Dog's been working on an unannounced game for 3 years. It is claimed. Right. So the question remains, why would they announce Intergalactic when they did? What was the purpose of that? Why wouldn't you have saved that for later this year? What's the point of having Naughty Dog out in the public right now? I mean, think about it. I just want you to track with me on what they're doing. They announced their game, and Neil Druckmann's doing an interview circuit about the show and Intergalactic. He could have done the interview circuit just about the show. Season 2 is coming. It was highly praised in Season 1, super popular. It increased the sales of the game. Every week an episode landed. Why would you push this out like this? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. Yeah, they've openly stated that they are done with Uncharted. Yeah. They've said that. I think it's a Lost Legacy Teams game. So you think it's like a smaller game? I don't even look at my wish list on console and streaming services. No idea when I even make them. I've been doing a little bit better job of managing a wish list on my PlayStation so that I don't forget about things because there's just so many games. I have a backlog. I have a backlog list that I made on my PlayStation. And then I have the wish list as well. Wolverine was announced the same way Blade was announced. So I lean towards Marvel made that call as opposed to Sony. That's a decent theory, Maloon. It's a decent theory, especially considering Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine both showed up with their teaser trailers at the exact same time. That could have Marvel behind the steering wheel there. I don't understand why you would announce Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, have that much to show, that lengthy of a cutscene. I mean, people are like, oh, they slapped it together for PR. I'm like, it's a really long trailer, bro, with gameplay in it, and they're saying it's playable right now. You have all of this year, and you could take most of next year to work on it. You could take another year and a half to work on that game, and it apparently, again, according to Jason Schreier, it's not showing up next year. Guys, take a quick second as you're coming in. Go through your ritual of hitting that like button when you get here. An SDO with a £5 super chat. I hate the opinion that this console's gen has been bad, but I played an endless amount of great games. Baldur's Gate 3, Gran Turismo, God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring. This gen has been amazing. I think the people that say it's not been good or it's been disappointing, I think they've just either, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what games they're playing. I don't know what team they're cheering for, but I have had a phenomenal time this gen. So I think Naughty Dog was seeing and feeling a lot of pessimism about canceling their game and all of the live service issues. I think Naughty Dog felt like they had to show a card, not just for us, but for them. That's a really lengthy trailer to just show a card. Maloon, I would be more apt to agree with you if it was just one of those stupid teasers with the logo. That's not a teaser trailer. The Intergalactic trailer is not a teaser trailer. It isn't. Let me pull it back up here. It's 4.5 minutes long. It's lengthy. It's slow. They let the trailer just hang in the air multiple times. It just kind of sits there at multiple points in the 4.5 minute trailer. It doesn't feel like a teaser at all. Announcement teaser trailers are like a logo pops up and then you see Naughty Dog's name and you're like, oh gosh, they're working on something. I'm so hype. Like, that's a teaser trailer. 4.5 minutes? I don't think so. They were flexing their tech. I mean, there was a developer that said that. He felt like they were really kind of showing off. And a $5 super chat tip from Mike on the mic makes it rain confetti really early in the stream. Lonu, is the armor you get from the deluxe edition of AC Shadows worth it? I have no idea. Let me reset the super chat. I think, well, no, wait, here. I'll give you my opinion on it. I think it looks really cool, but I'm here to tell you something, Mike. I think you should avoid it. It's cooler to get gear and change your gear and sort of evolve your appearance. The armor looks so cool. It's so strong. It's like you end up using it right away, and like the early game stuff that you find you're going to ignore. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like those early pre-order bonuses where like the armor looks sick and the weapon is sick and looks sick and the stats are sick, like it invalidates so much of what you find in the early game. You know what I mean? I feel like it invalidates. It's like you're just going to put it on. Like your mount, the mount is incredible. It's like a dragon lion thing. So you're riding around on that instead of a horse. I don't know. There's elements to it that I think work against immersion. Let me add one to the member count. That's from me for the super chat goal. Every 5 super chats, I gift a member back to the community. It does look good. It looks so good that like, what are you going to put on? What else are you going to put on? 100% Lono. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes I feel like pre-order bonuses are bad because they look so amazing. You're not going to use any of the early game loot. So a lot of the appeal of like, ooh, I found a new sword. Ooh, I found new armor. You know, that really neuters some of the early game discovery. You know what I mean? You'll never use anything else again. You can transmog. Can you transmog later in the game? Isn't there transmog so you can keep the look throughout the gear itself is pointless past a certain point? This is true. This is true. Once transmog's in there, I would probably make myself look different because some of the armor in the game and some of the outfits look pretty dope. You know, the pre-order armor is dope, though. But how can you not wear the straw hat instead of going in total? Right, I couldn't figure out transmog in the early game. I think you unlock it later when you meet like a blacksmith or something. It's a classic example of optimizing the fun out of the game. For sure. For sure. It's not permanent, though, Jack Garland, so it's not like it's an ongoing thing, but it certainly does work against some of the early game appeal. It does. I think so. So, because I wanted to wear the straw hat. I thought the straw hat looked sick, especially with the cool armor that I got from the pre-order bonus or whatever you call it, the premium edition. And then, to me, it was like, oh, well, I can't transmog yet, so I guess I have to look like this or hurt my stats. Level 4 is when you get transmog? Okay, thank you. So, I mean, back to the subject at hand, like AC Shadows is certainly on the docket, and we can talk about that, but the Intergalactic situation, to me, I'm just very interested in what exactly the timing is here. Like, why would you announce Saros after Intergalactic? Saros' trailer is shorter and shows no gameplay, and it's coming out next year. Are you tracking with me on this? Like, think about what I'm saying. Saros' trailer is shorter, it's just cinematic, and it's coming next year. Intergalactic's trailer came out earlier, it's way longer, and it shows gameplay, and it's not coming out until 2027? Like, what? It just says that seems so backwards. Intergalactic doesn't show gameplay? Yes, it does. That's been verified by devs and tech analysts that's gameplay at the end. Transmog is listed in the menu and AC Shadows is customized. You have to press triangle. Yeah, you can't get it until you get to a certain point, though. They've been in development for almost the same amount of time. I'm assuming that this would be a bigger game than Saros because it's running an engine. It's cinematic. No, it's not. It has been analyzed by developers and Digital Foundry. That is gameplay at the end. It's an end. No, it's not. You are wrong. I'm going to trust the experts on this. I'm not pulling fallacy of the professional. This has been broken down by tech analyst and a developer, and they believe it to be gameplay. The framing of that shot, the way that she moves and the way that the camera moves, 100% that's gameplay at the end. It is. Like, it's not the same. The entire rest of the trailer is completely and utterly different. They intentionally separate it so that you can tell there's a break. They're like, this is not a cinematic. We've shown you cinematics up to this point, right? They show you cinematics all the way up to this point, and then they break, and they completely separate this all by itself. And Digital Foundry and the one guy that worked on other games, they believe that this is gameplay. They believe, like, no, that's actually somebody doing that. That's somebody moving the character and doing that. That's not just like a little video. Oh, wow, a whopping 10 seconds. Are you listening to what I'm saying, or do you guys want to be persnickety about a trailer? Like, what do you want to argue about right now? Would you like to spend our time bickering about whether or not it's gameplay, or would you like to do analysis about the fact that this is very different from the way that Saros was packaged? Which is going to be more productive with our time, as those who typically are anti-Sony are taking up the mantra that it's not gameplay. Typical, great, awesome, cool. Not surprised you think that. Can we move on and have an actual discussion worth having? The way this is packaged versus Saros is completely different. Saros is 100% cinema. That's it. That's all it is. It's just a cinematic. There's nothing else about it. The way that Intergalactic is packaged is completely different, and it's way longer. It's 4.5 minutes. All I'm saying is, the way they put Intergalactic together, it seems like the game would be closer than Saros. Not farther than Saros. That's all I'm saying. We don't need to bicker about whether or not it's gameplay. I trust the developer from the industry and the tech analysts from the industry that are like, that's gameplay. I trust them. If you don't trust them, that's your choice. We don't need to debate it. My point is the structure of the marketing feels very different. It just feels different. For them to take that much longer on the game. Not only that, Neil Druckmann just sat down with IGN. He just sat down with IGN. He said it's playable. We're playing the game, and it's great. I can tell it's running in-game. You can see it's running in-game, but there's some framing going on. Well, you can frame up events like that. It could be like a QuickTime event, like where you press a button and the character does something that's very scripted. I don't know. We don't know. I mean, again, all I'm saying is, doesn't it feel like it's more further along? Let's not debate whether or not it's gameplay. Given what you just said, El Duderino, wouldn't you say that it's further along in production than Saros, given what they showed? Saros didn't show us anything. Saros didn't show us a thing. It didn't show us anything in engine. It's just a cinematic. Okay, you guys are getting an ad. Okay, 30 minutes. Okay, it seems like... What's the topic? What's good, Gaming Tech? How are you? So the topic is, Jason Schreier of Bloomberg just came out and said that Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet is not coming next year. It's coming in 2027. And I'm observing that seems very bizarre because it was announced before Saros. They showed significantly more than Saros. And whether it's just in-engine or actual gameplay, they've got something built to where they could show her running up to an enemy and getting ready to attack it. How is it coming later than Saros, is my question. Could be early 2027. Yeah, sure. Why are you getting ads during your stream? We are running an experiment today, so please let us know anytime you get an ad. We need to know. YouTube is heavily pushing for us to run certain things and do certain things. We have said no because I especially, really prize the live viewing experience. However, they have been severely shrinking our reach. Thank you, RPG, for the reminder. And so we're running an experiment today. So you may get ads during the stream. I'm not trying to get ad revenue. Ad revenue on a live stream is not that great. It's all about, if you don't do what YouTube wants, they'll sequester your videos. So we're doing an experiment to see how bad is it, how often is it, how disruptive is it? Because I've said no for about 12 months. I've been like, nope, I'm not doing that. So the hope would be it gets better and better and better and more effective, because we've tried it on past broadcasts and it has actually done a very good job and it has not been super disruptive. So there's the possibility that we have to do this a couple of times and then it'll get better and it won't be as disruptive. Intergalactic was being compared to Elden Ring internally. No, it was not. That's false. That was never stated. They said that they took inspiration with a more open and less linear approach to storytelling and using the environment to tell the story. There is not a single interview or statement from the developer that said they were comparing their game to Elden Ring. The two games that have been two totally different budgets and scopes, says Paul. That's fair pushback, Paul. I honestly don't mind seeing it. It's done this far back from release, being a new IP and all that. That is actually very fair pushback, Paul. That's very fair, because Saros is obviously building on the systems and everything that they learned with Returnal, and Intergalactic is a complete departure from anything Naughty Dog has ever made. So you cave to the man. I'm not caving to the man, but Garrett, I gotta meet new people. You know what I'm saying? My live streams have got to get. We need reach. I need impressions, right? You know what I'm saying? What do you want me to do? Try and put bread on the table, brother. Like, I can't have streams only showing up to my sub base because they're, I'm being punished because I'm not running some feature they want us to run. You know what I mean? I've held firm on this for 12 months, and I don't know if we can hold any longer. I don't know if we can. Unlikely it's a departure from Uncharted and Last of Us gameplay-wise. Unlikely? Have you read a single interview? Because you're completely incorrect. It is a huge departure. You're not informed at all if you think that. If you think Intergalactic is not going to be a big departure from Uncharted and from The Last of Us, you haven't listened to a single thing they've said about it. It is a gigantic departure from anything they've ever made. For goodness sakes, all you got to do is watch the 10 seconds of her running up to the robot. I've never played an Uncharted or a Last of Us where I'm doing anything even remotely like that. I'm being told by a source that I trust that Naughty Dog contacts have indicated that is gameplay in Intergalactic, but Saros is indeed coming first, okay? This is a source that I trust. I've just been told privately that is indeed gameplay in the Intergalactic trailer, but Saros is coming first. Are the ads tailored to the streamer? Will we get ads for step stools and high chairs? Mash. That's enough. You're setting those 10 seconds at the end of the trailer are not something you should judge the gameplay on. You're setting yourselves up for a watchdog situation if you do. I don't agree. I don't see anything in that trailer that is otherworldly. Have you seen the graphical performance and the praise that's been heaped on AC Shadows? What do you think a first-party studio is going to be able to do? Wait, have you ever been in a late gen of a console, brother? Like, that's a late gen game, meaning it's going to be at some of the highest levels of performance and fidelity we're going to see on the PS5 as well as the Pro. Like, have you seen what AC Shadows did? And they did direct collaborative work with Sony to get Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's been praised as a generational leap on the Pro. What do you think a first-party studio is going to do? Naughty Dog is notorious for landing late gen and blowing people's dadgum minds. Showing up late gen and winning Game of the Year. That's what they do. That's kind of how they roll, brother. Can we get a couple more likes on the video? You guys are crushing it. We're only half an hour in. Naughty Dog likes to put games out near the end of the gen to really push what the console can pull off. Well stated, bro sexy. We're of the same mind. I don't think I'm overhyping the game. I don't think my expectations are in the stratosphere or outside of the confines of reality. I really don't. That looks totally believable to me. It does. I wasn't speaking to fidelity or having my mind blown. I was speaking to, if you think Intergalactic is not a huge departure from Uncharted and Naughty Dog, that's what I was speaking to. Just like they did with Crash and Jack. So how far back do you have to go to make that example? You're going to ignore Last of Us Part 1? You're going to ignore Last of Us Part 2? You're going to ignore the Uncharted games? Seriously? Come on, you're embarrassing yourself. I remember developers saying that there was no way that the TLU 2 was running on a PS4. Developers were saying this about Naughty Dog. Yeah, they say it's gameplay. I'm inclined to believe them. That's exactly right, Corey. Naughty Dog has earned my trust in this regard. They don't show bogus crap. You're the one ignoring Uncharted 1 through 3? Okay, you've made such a compelling argument. They don't show bogus crap. They have consistently shown things like Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2, and now Intergalactic, and I'm like, that looks incredible, can't wait to play it. Until they break trust, I'm not worried about what the game's going to look like, run like, or what it's going to offer. I'm not worried at all. I went in as a total skeptic in TLU 2, and it blew my dadgum mind. I was very much against that game, very much thought that Tsushima deserved Game of the Year above it, very much disagreed with what their choices within the story, and then I played the game and was like, yeah, this is award-winning. This is unbelievable. Mark my words, Uncharted 5 will be usual stealth, Intergalactic will be Souls-like. I don't know why you're saying Uncharted 5. Naughty Dog is not making Uncharted 5. They're not making another Uncharted. There's going to be an Uncharted with Cassie Drake as far as we know, but it's not going to be built by Naughty Dog. Unless they've got like a sub-team that is not a part of the main team. Neil Druckmann said they were done. He firmly, I mean, it was firm. I've got a video about this. Where I said he was very firm. When he said there was not going to be any Last of Us Part 3, or he said don't bet on it, he didn't say there wasn't going to be. He just said don't bet on it. I was like, he's being very vague. When it came to Uncharted, he was firm. He was like, we're done. We put our final brushstroke on that. It was a lot different phrasing. Did I miss your monthly milestone, Rich Rod? I'm sorry. Hang on. Rich Rod with 25 months and a VIP. Let me add you to the total. That's 392. 8 away from 400. I'll owe you guys 15 members. He says, I think Sony is trying to mix it up. The future and near future so that we don't think that they're dying. Sony should buy other portions of Ubi like Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Division, and Watch Dogs. Okay, hang on. You think Sony is trying to mix it up, the future and the near future, so that we don't think that they're dying. So, you guys have got to stay off Twitter, man. Like, nobody thinks that Sony is dying. Nobody thinks that PlayStation's in trouble. Unless you're like a weird bleed green diehard who thinks that, like, publishing games on PlayStation is a Trojan horse, or games selling well on PlayStation is like some kind of a problem. Like, you got to stay off Twitter, man. Like, nobody in their right mind actually thinks that. Whether or not you look at PlayStation's annual earnings, their quarterly earnings, their fiscal reports, their growth this gen, like, you got to stay off Twitter. There's no reason. You were referring to Intergalactic and Sorrows? Right. Here's the thing, though, brother. Like, the way you framed it. Come on, Rich Rod. Like, come on. Yo, Donnie with 21 months. Uncharted needs a 5th game like T-Lu needs a 3rd. 0. Hey. Go play Diablo. Go play Diablo. You Scottish prick. I'm just kidding. Listen to me. I get what you're saying, Rich. That they're trying to mix it up. Like, oh, we've got something that's a little bit closer. We've got something that's a little bit farther. Fine. They're not doing that so that we're like, oh, no, they might be dying. Come on. Is Diablo 4 still a thing? Yeah, talk about an unneeded game, Donnie. Are you still playing? No, I'm just kidding. Listen. I get what you're saying, Rich, but I do not think that Sony's like, we better do this because they might think that we're dying if we don't. You see what I'm saying? That's the part that I don't agree with. I could agree with you that potentially, internally, they're saying something to the effect of, hey, we got to make sure we've got near and far targets to put in front of the audience because the second half of the gen... This is how I would frame it. The second half of the gen, everything's going to pick up, okay? Everything's going to pick up. And because everything's going to pick up, we've really got to make sure we spread things out. Because if we don't spread things out, the worry would be that you're going to end up with everything kind of like all at the same time. Like, if you think about how they market, they like to spread things out. They don't like to, like, slam a bunch of first-party stuff right on top of themselves. Like, you're never going to watch a state of play or a showcase, and they're like, boom, new trailer, boom, new trailer, boom, new trailer, boom, new trailer. And you're like, oh, my gosh, first-party studios are going crazy. They like to space it out. So maybe they're looking ahead of the forecast, and they're saying, well, the cadence of our first-party studios is going to pick up in the second half. And because it's going to pick up in the second half... we've got to space these announcements out or they're going to be all on top of each other. Right? You got a Kazan ad? Okay, thank you guys for letting us know when you get ads, because when you tell me that, I'm watching the results. I want to see just how many people they're smacking. I think they're doing what I thought they were going to do, and I think they're hitting like 10 to 15 to 20 people, and then they stop. And then they're going to hit 10 to 15 to 20 different people, okay? I think that's what they're going to do. I think the AI is going to assess who will and who won't endure and stick around. Anyways, guys, do me a quick favor. Smash the like, right? Smash that like button. And make sure you've checked the $sign at the bottom of the chat to see if you have a renewal to celebrate. Not bad. I've only got 2 so far. Okay. Quintar, you've gotten them twice now? Okay, thank you for letting us know. I appreciate you guys letting us know. I told you to do that. I told you to let us know. Let us know, okay? And at 45 minutes here in just a second, I'm gonna do a little push. We got announcements to make. I've got a thing, says Zubair. He's got the VIP renewal to celebrate, and that's going to bump the line to $393. Thank you so much, Zubair. Just remember, if Lono really gets to you, tell him to get a haircut. I'm getting one tomorrow. Church announcements are coming. That's right. Let me see here. In 15 seconds. Yeah, I got a little thing to tell you guys about. It's cool. It's a cool thing. And then next week we've got another thing to announce. It'll be on the porch soon. Sneaky Wolf with 22 months and a member plus. I've also got a thing. Path tracing sucks. Oh, he's taking shots at path tracing. Him and Zuby are about to fight. Okay, we're at 45 minutes. Okay, you guys, do me a favor. Use the keyboard command in chat. This company, Lamoki, that's not the company. This is the keyboard. This is a magnetic Hall effect keyboard that they sent me, okay? And it's from the company Keychron. And if you use the keyboard command, they have a Kickstarter right now for $200. You can get the keyboard when they start shipping in May. I really like this thing. You guys have keep remarking on how loud it is. It's because it's so tactile and it feels amazing. It's heavy, it's responsive, it's a magnetic Hall effect keyboard. Its response time is supposed to be incredible for those of you that are into gaming. I'm not really gaming on it, but it's incredibly comfortable for typing. When I type my daughter's papers once a week, I actually use that keyboard over my other one. It has an 8K polling rate, and again, the magnetic Hall effect is really the reason to get it. So you can go to the Kickstarter, $200, production starting, and they will be shipping in May. That is in 2 months. So thank you so much for the keyboard. We appreciate working with you. We would love to work with them again, obviously, Keychron. So thank you so much for sending that out. Use that keyboard command all throughout today's stream, please. Real gamers only play on a controller. Yeah, there you go. And do me a favor and smash the like button. Try to get us to 300 likes. Thank you guys so much. Let's hear the buttons. Stop doing your daughter's homework for her. She'll end up a beta male. Shut up, PG Creamy. Promoting keyboards for all those Sony ponies? That's right. PC obsessives are cringe, says Moriarty. Xbox obsessives are cringe, but you got to admit, PlayStation obsessives are also cringe. Yeah, I think anybody that goes beyond basic fandom is always something to me that I think is a bit of an issue. So you know, to go back to what Rich Rod was saying, we were kind of batting the ball around. Did I add both of those renewals, Sneaky and Zuby? Did I add you guys over there? I feel like I did. If I didn't, let me know. So I don't think that there's some sort of an effort from PlayStation to we got to make sure they don't think that we're dead. I think the average consumer isn't paying much attention to it. I think the average consumer's watching these showcases and watching these things, and they're sort of like, yeah, this looks fine. This looks exciting. There's plenty coming out. So do they do this on purpose? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That's really cool. Or those are just the primary colors that get used in pretty much everything. Lono's making his hair higher to appear taller. I am. It's one of the reasons why I haven't gotten a haircut recently, is I wanna look taller. That's exactly right. Clarifying what I meant about Uncharted 1 through 3, this isn't a pattern when PS4 is the only example of late games. PS1, 2, and 3 had a steady stream. That's not what I'm talking about, and if it's what you think I'm saying, I make no sense. My point, Naughty Dog has always made good games no matter if the game is late or early in the gen. Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying, the nature of their games were I thought you were saying 1 through 3 weren't good. Here's going to be my pushback on that, Toa, and this is something that people really, really need to wrap their brains around. I think you guys need to adjust your expectations, okay? I really do. I think you need to adjust your expectations. I think when you go back to where you feel like their cadence of games were better, right? What were the release dates for Uncharted 1 through 3? Okay. So those games were like 2 years apart. Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, Drake's Deception. Okay. Those were all 2 years apart. Okay. If you had to guess, if you were on a game show and they wanted you to guess why games back then were coming out 2 and 3 years apart, and now games are coming out 4, 5, and sometimes 6 years apart, almost double, sometimes triple the length of time that it used to take to make games, what would be your guess? Are they lazy? Do they not care? Do they dislike you? Do they not want to have? They don't want you to have fun. They don't want to give you good games. What do you think's going on? Dev time was different. Yes. Like, I think it's crystal clear. This is one of the reasons why when people want to, like, rose-color romanticize eras of gaming, and they're like, we got so many more games, we got them so much more often. And it's like, yeah, they were cranking out an Uncharted every 2 years. Of course, that was great. Do you think they can do that now? You think they can just give you an Uncharted 4 every couple of years? Like, yeah, every 2 to 3 years, here's going to be a game at the level of an Uncharted 4 or a Last of Us Part 2. Even now, when it's a sequel, when you go from God of War 2018 to Ragnarok, or Zero Dawn to Forbidden West, or Spider-Man 1 to Spider-Man 2, even when it's a sequel, it's still taking longer than it used to. And that's when they've got established engine and assets and models and animation sets and things that they can use to speed up the development process, and they probably could in 3.5 years. No, you want to know what would happen? And this is where gamers are so schizophrenic. You know what would happen if they were delivering games every 2 to 3 years like they used to? You'd be bellyaching about how they were low quality, buggy, not ready, not long enough, not good enough, not pretty enough, not whatever enough. Like, if you want games to come out and look at the caliber of a Ragnarok or a Forbidden West or a Spider-Man 2, or in the case of one that just came out that looks really good and is getting a bunch of praise, Assassin's Creed Shadows, you're just going to have to wait. This is the thing that gamers constantly get so backwards. We bellyache and we piss and we moan about Madden every year, Call of Duty every year, these annual releases, these slop games where nothing is new and it's carbon copy, it's the same as the last time, they barely change anything. Well, if you want something like Wolverine to land and be incredible, or if you want Intergalactic to land and be incredible, you got to give them dev time. You got to let dev windows get into the 5 to 6 year range. You've got to. Modern games are nuclear aircraft carriers. That's what I'm saying. So much of the romanticization, if that's a word, that you romanticize that era of gaming, we're never going to go back to that. We just aren't. Now, something that I've theorized is that studios are going to start delivering maybe smaller games, like AA size, AAA quality is something I've been saying. Something to the degree of like a Miles Morales. Like if there's a surprise Venom game or something. They were thinking about breaking Spider-Man 3 into 2 parts. I think you're going to start to see studios do that so that maybe they can come to market a little bit quicker, but they'll still be at the AAA quality. It's a massive amount of risk to like dig down deep and have your whole studio working on a game for 5 or 6 years, and it's like, well, hopefully it does well, because if not, we're in trouble. That was a great response, Lono. That should be made into a short for sure. Well, thank you, Dylan. Like, I get what people are saying. I totally understand, but you've got to understand what we're talking about now. Even television has changed. I can watch a season of The Twilight Zone, and it's like 26, sometimes more. Some of the seasons of The Twilight Zone, back when the genius, the prolific genius, Rod Serling himself, was writing the episodes, directing the episodes, producing the episodes, like the original. I'm not talking about the newer ones. The original. Right? 20, sometimes 30, close to 40 episodes a season. Well, now what do we get? Now you get a season of a show, and you get 8 episodes that are each about an hour long, and the production quality is like mind-blowing. It's like sitting down and watching a movie every week. Right? We're so like our brains are so media-addled, sometimes I think we forget that, like, the work and the quality and the production dollars that go into these things has just gotten so much higher. It takes a lot longer. When you play a game like Death Stranding, and, like, Norman Reedus is interacting with Mads Mikkelsen, is that his name, his last name? I always just call him Mads. They're interacting and having a scene together. It's like, those homies had to put on weird-looking jumpsuits with ping pong balls stuck to it, and they had to act that out in a studio. That takes time. That's expensive. We get TV movie quality games. Thank you guys so much for letting us know every time you get an ad. I know it's not a great experience, but we are running an experiment today. Sadly, I'm seeing results that I was worried I would see. Sadly. I am seeing results that I was worried that I would see. It seems like we'll see. It does seem to be driving people away. Did you explain that when Xbox games were getting delayed, or it just applies to PlayStation? Do you think you got a gotcha as we're not talking about delays? Do you know what a false equivalency is, or are you just in here trying to get a clip? How many PlayStation games have been delayed and then shipped at 30 FPS? How many PlayStation games have been delayed and then shipped with a bunch of bugs and a bunch of missing features and then had to be patched over time? How many? Can you list them for me? List all the PlayStation games that got delayed and then shipped at 30 FPS, or at the quality of Redfall, or the quality of Starfield, or at the quality of Forza Motorsport. How many PlayStation games were delayed and have user scores that are embarrassing, like Starfield and Forza Motorsport and Redfall? How many PlayStation games did that? You want to play this game? Let's play this game. Let's do it. Get in the ring and let's play this game. You want to compare? Do you really want to compare this gen of, like, what PlayStation games have been delayed and have shipped in the abysmal state that Xbox games ship all of the time? It's not even comparison. And Intergalactic's not been delayed. It's not been delayed. It's just got a longer dev cycle than I expected, given when they announced it and what they showed. Spider-Man 2 was a mess at launch. Yes, if you believe liars on Twitter. Did Spider-Man 2 ship at 30 FPS? Does Spider-Man 2 have a bad user score? No, that's true of a bunch of Xbox games. You don't want to do this comparison game. You're going to lose every time. To try and claim that Spider-Man 2 was a mess at launch, you're just embarrassing yourself. It's not even close. It's not even a comparison. It was patched within, like, most of the problems in Spider-Man 2 were patched within like a week. It was patched within like a week. Come on. It wasn't even remotely to the degree of, like, what Xbox has done. And it's not even an equivalency to the discussion that we're having, because Intergalactic is not delayed. It's just taking longer to come to market than I expected. And we're talking about dev cycles, and we're talking about comparing dev cycles now to dev cycles back in the PS3 era when you were getting an Uncharted every 2 years. That has nothing to do with games getting delayed and then shipping below minimum expectations of a product in 2020s. Like, what are we even talking about? Why so mad defending PlayStation? How am I defending PlayStation? You try to come in and do a gotcha, and I'm shooting you down. That's not defending PlayStation. I asked you a simple question. How many PlayStation games were delayed and then shipped at 30 FPS and were as buggy and glitchy as Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport? How many PlayStation games were delayed and have user scores as embarrassing as Redfall, Starfield, and Forza Motorsport? What I'm saying is this is always a good explanation for PlayStation, not for Xbox. You don't seem to understand the conversation that we're having, and I'm trying to educate you. We were having a conversation about, man, it seems weird that Intergalactic isn't coming out until 2027. And then somebody basically said, Naughty Dog used to ship games more often. What happened? So we went and we looked at the cadence of the Uncharted games coming out basically every 2 years. And I said, development cycles are longer. If you want a game to come out and be really amazing and movie quality, and you got Norman Reedus, you got Mads doing these scenes together, you got Horizon Forbidden West and games of this caliber, it's going to take longer. I wasn't talking about delays. You're trying to inject something into the conversation to get some kind of a gotcha because you want a clip for all your haters out there that think I'm some kind of a pony that always defends PlayStation and never gives Xbox any credit, and you don't know what a false equivalency is. A false equivalency is when you try to claim Xbox games getting delayed and coming out at 30 FPS and coming out below substandard, like, and having terrible user scores. That's the same as me talking about long development cycles. You think that's the same? It's not the same. We're not talking about a delay. I'm not defending a PlayStation game that was delayed and shipped at 30 FPS. If you think I would defend that, you're out of your head. I would never defend that. I would be vicious about that. I'd be like, what the frick are you guys doing? If listen, I'm serious. If PlayStation delayed a game and shipped it at the quality of what Xbox has done this gen, I would be absolutely critical of it. I'd be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's not even the same. My criticism of Xbox this gen has been delaying games that ship that are clearly still not ready. Then they're shipping below the standards of what we expect this gen. PlayStation hasn't done that. Not once. I don't have a single PlayStation game on my PlayStation right now that was delayed and then shipped at 30 FPS with a bunch of bugs and a bunch of glitches and had to be patched, over time to the degree that we've seen with these games from Xbox. Like, it's not the same. Oh, and by the way, anytime we've spoken about the Xbox Studios, what have I said? I have said that I hope Microsoft gets out of the way. I have said that I hope that they get rid of the 18-month contract policy because Xbox has good studios, Xbox has good property, and Microsoft needs to get out of the way because they're disrupting the creative process. Again, if you're just looking for a clip and you're just looking for a gotcha, you don't actually understand what I think. You're just a Twitter warrior in here hoping for a moment. If you actually listen to anything I've ever said about the Xbox studios, I've never once acted like, well, these studios suck and they don't know what they're doing. I always pin it on Microsoft and Microsoft needs to get out of the way. Because Xbox has great studios, great talent, and great property, and they keep shipping games, and it's like, something's going on here. Something's not right. Something is disrupting the creative process. Something is disrupting their ability to bring games to market on time and at quality. When your CEO is going on podcasts to apologize for games, you don't get to come in here and act like PlayStation's doing the same thing. There's always a good explanation there for PlayStation, is what I see. You're not listening. You're not listening. I just outlined the clear categorical differences between, we were talking about games taking longer to come to market. I expected Intergalactic next year. It's coming out 2027. Someone brought up the fact that Naughty Dog used to have a better cadence, and they were bringing out Uncharted games closer together. So I talked about how development cycles back then compared to development cycles now are very different. That is not the same as what Xbox does. You're not engaging in good faith. Yeah, you're not. You feel it. You literally feel like one of those dishonest people that comes in here, you trot out a brain dead argument, you know you're wrong, and you want me to correct your wrongness so that you can get a clip. It's so obvious. You're not even engaging in the discussion. You think that Xbox delaying games and shipping them at 30 FPS is equal to a conversation about dev cycles being longer and why Naughty Dog was able to ship Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 2 years apart and why they're not doing that anymore. You think that's the same as delaying games and shipping them at 30 FPS. If you think those things are the same and that I'm somehow making excuses for PlayStation, as I've literally cited third-party games and said the same thing. I said the same thing about Jedi Survivor. When they said the Jedi Survivor release date on stream, I was like, what? I was like, that seems incredibly fast. That seems too fast. And guess what? It was too fast. Jedi Survivor shipped and it wasn't ready. It's still not in great shape on PC. It was in terrible shape on the console. It took them 5 months to fix it. Why did that happen? Because Disney wanted a new Star Wars game every 6 months and they were prizing cadence over quality. I'm consistent on this. You're just looking for a clip. It's so obvious. I have been rigidly consistent on this, whether it's Jedi Survivor or any other game out there. I'm always saying, give the devs time to ship a quality product, because if not, you end up with cadence mattering more than quality, and that's when you get Jedi Survivor. That has nothing to do with Xbox. That's a third-party game. Look at what happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed at least twice, and look at how it shipped. Nothing but technical praise from Digital Foundry. Any outlet that has broken down the technical prowess and the pristine nature of that game has had nothing but good things to say. That's a third-party game. You couldn't be more wrong in the discussion if you think that's what's going on here. If you think that's what's happening, if you think that there's some sort of a PlayStation can do no wrong element to the discussion, then you weren't listening. You weren't. I can say Intergalactic won't be out next year due to factions. That game was most likely number one on their lists, and the new push to live service games. You're not right. You're not correct. They've not said anything to indicate that factions was number one. It wasn't. They've been working on multiple projects simultaneously. Will you play GTA 6 at 30? I know the answer. No. I've said numerous times that if GTA 6 ships at 30 FPS, I won't play it. I've said that numerous times. Naughty Dog has 2 teams. Seemingly, they have 3 teams. Intergalactic has been in production for multiple years. We're now hearing rumors they have another title that's been in production for multiple years, and then they had a team working on factions. If you think that the majority of Naughty Dog was working on factions and it was their number one priority, then you weren't listening when they announced the fact that it wasn't shipping. Like, you weren't listening. They basically got told by Bungie that they'd have to turn into a live service studio, and they're like, we're not going to do that. We won't be able to do things like Intergalactic. We won't be able to do things like this over here. And if so, there was no, oh yeah, we're all hands on deck. Last of Us Factions is the number one priority. That was never indicated in any of the reports or any of the insiders, any of the leaks. Nobody's ever indicated that about Naughty Dog. If anything, they weren't giving it enough attention, and then they were suddenly told, you're going to have to give this a ton of attention if you want this to work. Well, no, I think you're giving too much credit to people who are just uninformed versus being intentionally misleading for specific reasons. If there's one thing I've gotten really good at, it's smelling bad faith arguments, Tommy. I can walk into anybody's kitchen and I can smell what burnt food tastes like. Like, I don't have to know their ability to cook to know, like, you burnt something. I can smell it. Chat only advert, not a video? Wait, you got an ad just in the chat? That's something that they're supposed to be doing, so that it doesn't disrupt the stream. If someone's going to come in here and try and pull a gotcha and say that I'm always making excuses for PlayStation Studios, and it's always a problem when Xbox does it, and we were talking about dev cycles for all studios, all games. We weren't just talking about PlayStation, because I even referenced Assassin's Creed Shadows in the discussion. In the discussion, I reference Assassin's Creed Shadows. Anytime we've talked about timeline to ship, what have I always talked about? What have I always talked about? This is why the position's so consistent, and this is why you will never, ever have the bad faith people actually show up here and try and engage in good faith. They will only react to bad summaries and bad framed clips because they're cowards. They'll never come in here and engage with me in good faith. They won't, because the amount of consistency in my position is insane if you actually break it down. All the way to the exclusives versus multi-plat discussion, I'm consistent. There's not a blip of inconsistency in my position. Not a whiff. I say the same thing every time. It's like, if you are focusing on one platform, you get a better quality game and it can come to market faster. If you spread that out to multi-plat, it makes the game come to market in a longer time period, and then eventually you just got to push it out because the publishers want it to be shipped, and then you end up with games that aren't ready. Gee, that sounds very similar to the conversation that we were just having, that timeline for games have gotten larger. It's harder for them to bring games to market at the intervals that they used to because they're trying to do a whole lot more, and that's directly related to everything I've ever said about exclusives versus multi-plats. Not a whiff, not a crack, not a hint of inconsistency in the position. It is a very consistent position because it's not driven by ideology. It's not driven by brand loyalty. It's driven by basic observation of the industry and listening to developers when they do interviews. It's like, well, yeah, of course it's easier to build for one platform. Arcane said it. Bethesda has said it. Multiple developers have said when you shrink down to one platform, it makes it easier, makes it better. Like, in the discussion we were just having, I've said the same thing about Xbox. I've said the same thing. I've been like, one of my concerns is that they're going to end up like Ubisoft, and their operating costs is going to be huge. And not just huge, in their operating costs being huge, they're also trying to hit a larger target. They're going to be tasking their studios with, hey, we need that game built for PC, Series S, Series X, Nintendo Switch 2, PS5, PS5 Pro, and I think that's a tall order for a lot of studios. That's going to make it difficult to bring games to market in a timely fashion. Also going to make it difficult to bring games in a timely fashion at quality so that they run well, look well, and have all the features that you come to want in the game. That's a pretty broad spectrum of development. Imagine some of the games that we've been playing recently that look incredible but still have some rough edges. Like, let's just take Monster Hunter Wilds as an example. Imagine Monster Hunter Wilds throwing in another platform. Just throw in the Switch, right? That would be difficult, would it not? It would have made things difficult on them. Now, I know they're trying. I know right now we have it on very good authority that basically every publisher, every developer in existence is like, we have got to figure out how to get our games on the Switch 2. Why are they trying to figure it out? Why haven't they figured it out? Well, one of the reasons they haven't figured it out is because that's going to be a bottleneck, right? It's going to be a weaker device. We know this. We know it's not going to be as strong as, let's say, the Series X, the PS5, your average PC, right? Your average PC. So I apply this standard across the board. It's not particular to any brand or any studio. I don't give anybody favoritism or partiality in this. All studios, in my mind, need enough time to bring it to market at quality. I think the executives need to get out of the way, and I really think you end up with better games when the scope of delivery is smaller in the beginning. 1 or 2 platforms, and then port later. 1 platform, and then port later. I think we consistently get better results from that. I do. My focus is on the quality of the game. I don't give a frick who's making it. I don't. If you make a game right now, there's plenty of games that have done this. There's indie studios that have done this. They target Steam and the Nintendo Switch, and that's it. That's it. And then they expand to other platforms. Consoles are for kids or casual adult gamers. Generally speaking, weren't you just saying that it was silly to be console warring? Weren't you just saying that? And yet you type something like that. That's interesting. Talking about ports. Did you see how well optimized Atomfall is on everything? You can have well optimized multi-plat games, Joel. You totally can. Shadows is doing very well in that department. It's been highly praised. But it's also been in development for a long time. It's also been in development by one of the largest companies out there. So that we have no idea how much of the development was shouldered by how many support studios. Do you see? Like, think about what we're saying here. A game like Shadows is built well, it's optimized well, it's a multi-plat game, rah, cheer for that game. Right. That harkens back to what we were just saying. It probably took... How long has it been in production? How long has it been in production? Right? Forget these dudes. What's a surprise? What do you mean, what's a surprise? What are you talking about? It went up like Square. These games didn't sell on PC because they didn't drop day and date. They dropped timed exclusivity. What games are you referring to, Noob Tech? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a pretty good example of a smaller studio doing well optimized on all platforms. Oh, there's definitely something to be said for smaller studios being more efficient at this as well. Do you want to know why? They're doing things on their timeline. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and this is one of the things I've been talking about, smaller team, smaller project, AAA quality. Now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is not a small game, but I think when you have a smaller team and you're working on your own timeline, I think that helps significantly. I also don't know how long Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was in development. We don't really know. I'd be curious to see what the development cycle was for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, when did they start working on it? Do we know? Have they said? Ubi lost all they gained from yesterday's bump. That's common, right? They got a bump from the announcement, and now everybody's selling. You know, they rode the $1 up, and now they're gonna sell to, and then try to buy back in. Um, 7 years. That's been reported somewhere that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was in development for 7 years? I mean, that exhibit 754 in my argument. Yeah, it sorry, the announcements. I mean, basically what I said was there's a lot of surprises. The surprise was that Ubisoft and Tencent have entered into an agreement for a subsidiary. Guys, take a quick second while I'm giving you a rundown and a recap. Hit the like button. Let's get to 300 likes really quickly here. They entered into agreement to do a subsidiary to protect basically Rainbow Six, Far Cry, and Assassin's Creed. There was an internal email sent that it looks like there's still going to be layoffs. I don't think they can avoid layoffs. I think they're too big. I think their production costs are just too high. They're going to have to let people go and probably shutter entire studios. It's tragic. There's nothing we can do about it. Ubisoft made this bed, and they've been trying to get out of the situation for like a very, very long time, and they haven't been able to. They made some bad decisions, and they made some bad bets. Right? Shadows was in development for 4 years? No. I think it's been in development for much longer than that. There's no way it was only 4 years. There's no way. 2021 they started working on this? I don't know about that. That seems like a crazy small window for Shadows. It's a huge game. Thousands of devs. That can sometimes actually hurt your efficiency, though. That can sometimes hurt your efficiency when you have that many people working on a game. It really can. 4 years sounds believable. What do you got here, Sven? Development began in 2020 following the release of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So it looks like it took somewhere between 4 and 5 years. That's actually impressive. I'll say it. That's impressive. It's possible that it's not a sequel, but maybe it benefits from things that a sequel benefits from, right? The world building, the animation sets, the weapon systems, the RPG systems. Maybe a lot of that can be sort of brought over from, from previous games like Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins. Maybe that kind of propels development. I don't know. 4 to 5 years seems pretty fast for AC Shadows. That's actually pretty dadgum impressive, given the how good the game looks, how well it runs. That's a really, really good time frame for them. That's pretty efficient. I mean, again, they have been doing production line gaming for a while. How far, AC Origins release date? What was that? 2017. Odyssey was 2018. They must have been doing parallel development. And then Valhalla was 2 years later. That's crazy. Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla were all 2 years apart because they had separate studios working on them. It seems like AC Shadows, they slowed everything down and took their time. Which, I mean, look at the results. They went from cranking out an AC game every 2 years to taking roughly 4 to 5, and we got pretty good results. Ads got me. Dadgummit. It's aggressive, isn't it? That's 4 so far. That's too much for an hour and 20 minutes. Well, when we were running them on the VOD, we were running them every 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes seems a bit heavy. Look at the timeline for Ubi Quebec. 2015, 2018, 2025. So they went from 2015, 3 years later another, and then this time it was a 7 year. Like, yeah, I got 2 ads at a time, not 1. Every 20 is pretty heavy. I don't think every 20 is bad when it's a past broadcast because you don't miss anything. Every 20 minutes in a live broadcast is a bit much. I was hoping it would be like every 30 minutes. I'm like, every 30 is not bad. It won't hit everybody every 30. It seems like they're trying to cycle it as well. Like it hits some of you, and then a couple minutes later it hits some of you, and then a couple minutes later it hits some of you. My other concern is you have to run it a couple of times. You probably have to run it a couple times, and then it gets better. Because I was running it on past broadcast, and the first couple of times it wasn't getting good results, and now it's getting much better results, and like nobody's complained when watching the past broadcasts. So hopefully they can get better at it, because I can tell they are treating us a little bit better, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's because we're running that. It wouldn't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock me in the least. We need 15 more likes, boys. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Coming in, chatting, talking, and giving us feedback on how often you're getting ads is helping us. Like it's helping us get a picture as to what's going on. Can't even open YouTube without premium. Yeah, sadly, all of you on premium don't even get affected by this. Feed me all the ads. Unfortunately, sometimes you just got to play the game. I feel that. Yeah, but I really, really pride myself on not disrupting the user experience. Like, I've always been very much against that. I was against it when I was on Purple. I've been against it over here. They did Assassin's Creed. It was yearly, if not. And then they said that they were going to spread out the releases. Can't remember exactly. No, yeah, you're right. I remember them saying that. Sadly. Did I say it backwards? A 5-bomb comes in from Rockin' Robin and puts us 1 away from 400. 1 away at 399. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin. And there it is, Rockin' Robin. Rockin' Robin. I think you said it backwards. I must have said it backwards. I don't know what I was trying to convey. That I have always been against that. I've always pushed against doing that, and the platforms really want you to do it. And JW comes in with the Agents of Chaos and pushes us past. Silver Subaru tried to do it as well and gifts one and takes us to 402. You said, sadly, us superior YouTube Premium folks don't get ads. Oh, no, I meant that. I meant, like, sadly, you have to go to premium if you don't want to keep getting hit with ads. I meant that. Like, you have to basically sign up for a premium is what I meant. What I was conveying is it's a bummer that, like, that's what you have to do to not get beat up with so many ads on the platform. That's what I meant. That's kind of a bummer that you got to do that. That, like, the ads have become so crazy that you basically have to sign up for premium to avoid it. And a single comes in from Jack, and a single comes in from Joker Quinn and gets us to 404. I didn't really spell that out. Nice save. No, I mean, I'm on premium too. I'm on premium. I think it's kind of a bummer that you feel like you have to do that. We're having a discussion. To get slapped with a non-prompted ad makes you miss the discussion. It's disruptive. I wouldn't care if you were like, okay, time for a break, and it played, but to have it mid-sentence... But the problem is when I initiate it, it hits everybody. This seems to not be hitting everybody. It seems to be hitting just a couple of people at a time. Like 5 or 10 of you get one, right? I don't know. YouTube's just making it. They're trying to find their way with live streams, and we're trying to do the same. So we're trying to do the same. Would it be better to hit her when we take a break? No, it's just, that's absolutely, that just blasts everything. Having 5 or 10 people get hit is not nearly as disruptive as me hitting everybody. And here's a single coming in and getting us a 20 bomb away from 425 at 425. Whoops, at 425, I owe you guys a 20 bomb. Let's tag team the 20 bomb right now. Somebody drop the 20 to 425, and I'll drop a 20 with you. Let's bury the chat. Any folks playing Spotify? And a 5 bomb comes in from JW and gets us to 410. A 10 bomb away. Thank you so much, JW. You trying to tell me that YouTube is in this for the money? 300 likes. Yeah, we got 300 likes. I'd rather know that it's coming. It just randomly plays. We're running out of options and choice here. I appreciate the feedback and what you guys are saying. You are not saying anything that I don't know. I know that it's disruptive. I know it sucks. I don't like it. I feel like if you have it disabled, YouTube's they're running a sequester on the streams that don't run it. Shadows was in development since October 2018, says Wilbur. Where did you find that? The wiki said 2020 right after Valhalla. I just got another ad. The last ad I got was 11:19. It seems like it's on almost like a 20-minute interval then. They were supposed to just start putting them in the chat, and like, who cares about that? Who cares if you can't see chat for a little bit? My experience is I get one at the beginning of the live, and I can go back and watch the VOD. I get roughly 4 to 5 as of recently. Before, VODs had so many ads it was almost unwatchable. They're trying to use AI to only hit you so often. So, what do you promote YouTube Premium instead? Yeah, I'm going to promote YouTube Premium, which I get $0 from. YouTube needs to figure that out. Yeah, I primarily am able to do this because of memberships, but let me promote YouTube's thing instead. Just so you guys know, it's every 20 minutes. There's nothing we can do unless you get premium, and that's that. I mean, I can turn it off, but when I turn it, I'm telling you, when I turn it off, I think YouTube was smacking us for not having it turned on. They enabled it a while ago, and I kept saying no. I was like, no, 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 no. It asks me every time I schedule a stream, and I'm like, nope. And it's like, are you sure? Yes. And they're like, do you want to turn it on? No. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I just did the math with all this ad talk and all my subscriptions I have. I'm paying $125 a month. Goodness gracious. Yeah, channel members get ads. I don't have the ability to not have them hit you. I can't make that a perk. That's something that you can do on Twitch. That was a setting that I turned on when I was over there. I think it's regional. I don't have premium, but I'm a VIP member, so I don't know if member level plays a part. It's possible that the AI says this is somebody who's, monetarily supporting the channel, so don't give them one. I don't know. The AI should obviously be trying to space them out. So, and not hitting you, more often than need be. I treated you a link. Oh, you tweeted me a link on Twitter? All right, let me see. Because if AC Shadows development started 7 years ago, that sounds more in line with what I was expecting. From the Assassin's Creed Reddit, longest development time for an AC, a LinkedIn profile of a developer at Ubisoft Quebec states that he's been developing AC Red since October of 2018, which means the game's been in works for 5+ years. If I'm not mistaken, this is the longest time an AC game has been in development. LinkedIn is not always the best indicator because sometimes they are in the same position, but they just change their responsibilities. So in 2018, he could have been working on something else and then went and changed the responsibilities, but it would still show that, yeah, he's been working on AC Red since 2018. So sometimes it's not the best indicator of how long an individual's been working on a project or how long a project's been in production. Like LinkedIn's not the most conclusive is how I'll say it. It can be a hint, it can be a way of kind of figuring out when's the earliest something was being worked on, but it's not the strongest indicator for sure. It's circumstantial evidence at best. Yeah, so like you can be a game director. And you can be a game director starting in 2018. And in 2018, you're working on AC Valhalla. And then you go and change your LinkedIn profile. Once Assassin's Creed Red has been officially announced, you go change your LinkedIn profile as a game director and you add AC Red. Well, it's going to make it seem like you've been working on AC Red since 2018. I'm not saying that they didn't start working in 2018. I'm saying we would need more to go by than that. The development of Assassin's Creed Shadows commenced in 2020, according to Zubair in the Discord, following the release of Valhalla. It marks one of the longest development cycles of the series. Even if it's 2020 instead of 2018, it's still one of the longest they've ever had. It is. It's still one of the longest they've ever had. Because they used to do the games like every 2 years, basically. Yo, good morning, feed. Good to see you in the chat. Guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure and smash that like button. We appreciate the great turnout today on Friday. We've got more planned for you. I do have a video about Assassin's Creed Shadows. We've got a video for you about why it's not what you think. There's been a lot of debating and a lot of back and forth about that title, and I put together a little video the other day, very well timed too, in light of the fact that they just hit 3 million players. People continue to try to claim that that's a fake number or it's just people on Ubi Plus. I refuse to think that in the beginning days of the game they were at 1 million, then 2 million, now 3 million, that 1 to 2 million people have signed up for Ubi Plus just in a week's time. Also, I posted this in my members chat. If you go to Google Trends, it's really interesting. These people that are hating on the game. It's really interesting when you look at the Google Trends chart. Let me show it to you guys. It's pretty interesting development here. Let me get this up here on the full screen for you. So I'll go to the other side. So this is AC Shadows. On Google Trends, and you'll notice, it comes out and it spikes up, and then it's kind of hanging out, and it spikes up again, and then it was on its way down, and then something weird happened. It spiked up again. Interest in AC Shadows has basically gone the gamut of a release, right? A huge spike up at release, and then a drop off, but now it seems to be on its way back up. And, go woke, go broke, I guess. Actually, probably having a bit of a rebound because, when your Twitter account bodies people on Twitter with, over 50 million views, you're probably getting a lot of increased interest in your game. And not surprising that the numbers continue to climb as far as sales and player numbers and the like. Now, we'll see if it has a stronger second weekend. That's actually unusual for a single-player game. I'm not anticipating that. I think that its Steam chart peak is probably going to stay the same, but its Steam chart peak is well within line of what AC Origins and AC Odyssey did. So, too bad the guy running that account's about to get bodied by layoffs. You think that's funny? Is that your consolation prize to the game actually doing well? What were you on that? You cheer for that team? So you're like, yeah, it's going to be funny when they all get laid off because of the last 4 years of mismanagement from Ubisoft. It's a little funny. So people losing their jobs because of institutional mismanagement of Ubisoft for the last 4 years, you think that's funny? Huh. Your sense of humor is interesting. It almost seems like people are butthurt that a game they hated on for the last 6 months is doing well, and their only consolation prize is, yeah, people are going to lose their jobs, ha. Oh, okay, wow. I guess we know where you stand then. I mean, it's, I think there are easier ways to admit you're not nice, that you're an unkind person. There are easier ways to admit that. There are easier ways to admit that cheering for the game's downfall had nothing to do with integrity or game quality or being a gamer. I don't know. It's almost like the mask has completely slipped off of these people, and it's like, well, this is what it was really about, right? This is what it was really about. Cheering for failure, not wanting something to do well because your fifis got hurt. Even if you disagree with the choices they made, do you think the majority of those employees or the bulk of the people who will probably get laid off are the decision makers here? Right. He bodied y'all dudes on Twitter, and now y'all are championing them being laid off. You dudes are corny. Absolute weirdos who don't belong in the gaming space. That's what I'm saying. It's just freaking weird energy. It's just weird energy, man. It really is. Loss of talent in the industry is never good. It just isn't. I'm not going to do this like bleeding heart, fake alligator tears virtue signal on Twitter when people get laid off. I think that's always, glib and contrived and motivated by self-interest, and people want to self-aggrandize, make themselves look good. I'm not doing that. But as a gamer, right? As a gamer, I think in general it's bad for all of us when there's layoffs, studio closure, talent loss in the industry is bad. What Ubisoft has done since 2021 has been bad for us as gamers. That's bad. Prince of Persia Lost Crown on mobile, free to play. I saw people saying that Prince of Persia was going to land on a surprising platform. I thought that was interesting. Devil's Advocate, will the same energy be for EA or Konami? Just curious. I don't think celebrating layoffs ever makes any sense. Celebrating layoffs typically, let's just talk about layoffs, not celebrating them. Layoffs in general are a sign of mismanagement, like what happened at Bungie. Bungie couldn't have done me more wrong, brother. And even I was like, this sucks. It's on Pete Parsons and the higher ups. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, yay, ha ha, ha ha ha. Now, obviously, there were people that were trying to give me grief about not covering it because when it initially happened, we had no information. There was a couple people tweeting about it, and I refused to cover it because we didn't have any hard data. And somebody came in and was calling me a pony, and I was refusing to cover it. And I said, we're not going to cover the layoffs just because a couple people are crying on Twitter. Well, that got clipped, and everybody thought I was being a jerk about the layoffs. I was never a jerk about those layoffs. If anybody had a right to be a jerk about the Bungie layoffs, I was first in line. And I wasn't. I was like, this sucks. This isn't good. I've always defended Bungie with respect to being like a talented studio. They've got good people. They've made good work. They know how to do live service. I've always defended them in that regard. I never celebrated their layoffs. If people were going to line up to celebrate that company's downfall, loss of money, loss of jobs, I was at the front of the frickin' line, and I didn't celebrate it. I wasn't like, this is good. And you want to celebrate layoffs at Assassin's Creed Shadows? Why? Why? Because they did something in a game that you didn't like? Good God. That's so lame. That's such lame energy to occupy space like that. A 5-spot from Mikey Mike. Got me to get back into Death Stranding after a false start a few years ago. Loving it now. Hey, I'm at 42 hours. I'm 80% through. So good. My ear was ringing. I knew Lona was roasting some Muppet in chat. Guys, make sure and smash the like button. I know the ads are annoying. We're running an experiment. We're doing what we can to move in this YouTube live streaming space. You're going to have to just bear with the experiment. I am sorry that it's been a little disruptive today. Facts. If anyone had the right to dance on Bungie's grave, it was Lono. It's sad to say, but very true. According to Xstasis sources, one of the functions of the button that looks like a C on the Switch 2, it will be able to use to connect to the Switch 2 with the Switch 1 and you can use the Switch 1 as a controller or screen. Oh, that's cool. That would be so cool. Like, to have, like, your menu down here, and you're playing, and you're like, doot, doot, and you're, I'm excited to see how that works. How is using your eyes and ears ignorant? What are you talking about, Bajanga? He just said First Descendant. What about First Descendant? Nobody is judging the game based on its merits. What? They're just judging it based on who's annoying them that week on Twitter. It's an online shop with a game attached and more time-wasting mechanics than in reality. Why did you just randomly start talking about the First Descendant? Oh, you're talking to Zubair. Oh. I was like, why are you suddenly talking about the First Descendant? What is going on? The Switch U? That's right, the Switch U. 42 hours, you're basically done. I think I'm at the end where I think the final 20% is going to go fast. I think it gets pretty cinematic is what I've been told. It was the first part of the chat that I posted. You said it's a little funny. It's reality. It's a little funny. It's reality. I don't understand what... I don't understand how you got on the First Descendant. It wouldn't let me type out the whole thing. You're fired. You're being let go. You've been promoted to customer. It's not a layoff. It's a promotion. That's right. Yes, we will be doing a stream of the Switch 2 showcase. This is correct, Joel. Yes. Nexon made first Berserker. Great. More microtransactions. Have you played it? Have you seen the reviews? Have you seen the user response? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yo, what's good, Anonymous Boss? How are you? I don't know what you're arguing, so feel free to restate what you were trying to say, Bajanga. My issue with the people that have been gunning for AC Shadows is there has been zero integrity, there has been zero consistency. It has been bad faith BS from moment one. From moment one, it's been bad faith BS. And now it's, oh, well, it sold well, but people are going to get laid off. Shut the frick up. Shut up. Be quiet. No one cares what you have to say anymore. That whole group, that whole crew, just shut up. Like, be quiet. Sit in a corner. Sit at the kids' table. Like, just stop it. Like, it's embarrassing. People can see you. It's embarrassing. It's like, so it went from go broke. Oh, yeah, we downvoted the trailers. Game's going to flop. Game's going to suck. Oh, frick, it's actually doing well. Well, yeah, they're just telling us player count. Somehow the player count went from 1 to 2 million. Somehow it went from 2 to 3 million. Where are these people coming from? Oh, but the Steam charts, though. Dragon Age Steam charts comparison. More bad faith BS. Well, yeah, 73% of the sales were on console. Oh, but now it's like, well, we'll concede that it actually did well, but yeah, Ubisoft is still going to have to lay people off. That's our trophy. That's embarrassing. Yeah, indie game better. Like, come on. The whole thing is embarrassing to watch. I get secondhand embarrassing from just the depth of patheticness that people have displayed throughout this entire discussion. A 5-spot from SDO. Can I just say I respect AC sales, but it ain't my kind of game? I'm done with AC for a good few years, not hating. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Homie, I went through that with Call of Duty. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't. I actually did that with Assassin's Creed. I played AC1, AC2, Brotherhood. I got halfway through Revelations. I got a couple hours in Revelations, and I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. I was trying to say that AC Shadows is a AAA game that's essentially a store with a game attached. It has more time-wasting mechanics than the First Descendant. What you're saying is ridiculous and untrue. Did you read that somewhere, Bajanga? I feel like you read that somewhere. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You think it's got a good user score on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, and that's the summary of the game? It is a store with a game attached. Shadows has a few silly systems, to be fair. Wired Rope says 35 hours into Shadows. That's not true. Yeah, what are you talking about? Daily quest and a battle pass thing? But you can ignore that stuff. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I don't know how people have been bugging Ubisoft when Activision Blizzard exists. Having a question about the systems is very different from saying it's a store with a game attached. The Battle Pass thing is literally free. How is a daily quest a bad thing? Wired Rope says you never have to touch that. Mandela says it's optional. Yeah, I don't think I have seen... Listen to me now. Listen. If Bajanga, you have got to know that if what you're saying is true, it would be getting eviscerated on Steam. If there's one thing the Steam homies are good about, they are persnickety and they are picky. And God love them for that, because they rail against this kind of thing. So when a game is sitting there with an 82%, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call BS on your claim. This is not a storefront with a game attached, because the Steam user base would be shredding this. They would take it to the wood chipper if that's what they were doing in this game. Mr. Anderson says, I have 50 hours in Shadows and I haven't touched any of that stuff. Games that do that kind of shenanigans, they do not fare well on Steam. The Steam user base will get angry. They bawled their eyes out because Returnal uses the Epic Online Store for co-op, and they thought it ghost installed the Epic Game Store. You think they'd be getting away with microtransaction shenanigans? Not on the Steam user base's watch. Listen, I give the Steam boys and the PC Master Race boys a lot of guff, but man, we need them. They're helpful. We know if something in a game stinks, they're going to smell it before anybody else. They're good for that. They really are. The daily quest allows you to get content not in the main game. They do have a pay-to-win option, but it's just optional. You can pay to skip cutscenes. Oh, for Pete's sakes. We might be nuts, but we're consistent, says Zubair. I wish PlayStation would let us type reviews. I enjoyed the Asmon video about Shadow's review, pointing out the facts. What was the purpose and tone of the video? I didn't watch it. I'm obviously being a little hyperbolic, but it's still there in a single-player game. Listen, if we want to criticize that element of the game, I know they did something in AC Odyssey that was heavily criticized for very similar reasons. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that was heavily criticized in AC Odyssey. I haven't really seen it brought up this time. I haven't. Game's been out for a week. I've seen almost no mention of this. This is like the first I'm hearing about this. What they leave out is that the Ubisoft store, they have a weekly store where you get paid items. And if you want the full set from the paid store, you get a discount for the parts of the set you have. Asman said combat is boring, open world is great, and well designed. He was basically saying that you need to be honest about the game and stop pretending it's a 2 or a 10. I think for some people, it probably is a 10 because they've waited a really long time for it and they're having a blast with it. I'm more open to being like, there's no way it's a 2. There's just no way. If you bought that game and you think it's a 2, you either don't play AC games or you went in with really, really bad expectations. I can't imagine watching a single trailer or any of the gameplay breakdowns and buying the game and being like, it's a 2. Like, come on. Come on. It's subjective, right? But I think people that love AC and have been waiting for it are probably like, bro, this is a 10. I'm having a blast. That doesn't mean it's a 10. It means it's a 10 for them. He was coming from his average Walmart American view. On a scale of AC games, I'd rate it a 9, says Sven. It's a 2 because it's historically inaccurate. Shut up, Trill. I'm loving it, but I'd call it an 8.5. That's still a really strong score, though, Yanadid. That's a really good score. 10 should be reserved for sheer perfection. Hadigan, when someone tells me a game is a 10 and they're a user, they're a player, I'm not as rigid. I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad you're having a blast. When an outlet when like a professional gaming outlet gives something a 10, I tend to agree with you. That's like, holy crap, that should be reserved for the absolute highest levels of excellence in a game. But the user, just pure subjectivity, there were people that played Baldur's Gate 3 that would be like, yo, this is a 10. This is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. And then there are other people that are like, well, it's a 9. It's an 8.5. Right? You guys are getting ads? Okay. That's a fair thought. Yeah, like, I give more allowance for just the user who's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this game for so long. Like, I'm going to be playing Ghosts of Yotei and Saros, and I'm going to be like, it's so good, guys. Oh my gosh. Like, and you're not going to want to come to me for a lack of bias. Right? If you come to me and you're like, how's Ghost of Yotei, Lono? How's Saros, Lono? You know you're coming to a big-time fan, and there's going to be some bias in the water. And I'm like, oh, it's amazing. My mind's blown. But you also know my personality, and you know that if there are rough spots, if there are things I don't like, if there are things that aren't running well, if things don't look good, if things have, you know, performance issues or problems, you know I'm going to be even more critical. Like if Yotei and Saros come out and have issues with, you know, performance or optimization or anything like that, I'm getting out the freaking machete. I'll be furious. I'm more, like, I was severely critical of what they did with the Jedi Survivor, and it ended up being, like, one of my favorite games that year. And I was heavily critical because I loved Fallen Order. I played Fallen Order twice, right? So, I give allowances for people to fanboy. I give gamers a lot more of an allowance to fanboy over a game. I do. Yeah, like Hellblade 2. People thought I was critical of Hellblade 2 because they can't think outside the console war. The irony of, like, framing everything in a console war and accusing me of console warring. It's like, I'm not console warring. I've been waiting for Hellblade 2 since the very first trailer. I was singing its praises leading all the way up to its release. And then it was a terrible experience. So, like, my love for a game will certainly add to my praise if they nail it. Like if Saros and Ghosts of Yotei, like if they nail it and those games are really good, you know I'm going to be like confetti in the air, trumpeting those games like, oh, they're so good. Like, and my bias is going to be driving some of that. Right? I actually think I tip over into extremes when there's built-in enjoyment. Like my built-in enjoyment and love for Hellblade 1, it really pushed me to the extreme with Hellblade 2. I was like, this frickin' sucks. This game sucks, man. Like I was ticked. I couldn't believe what they did. The directive choices that they took with that game. Guys, do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. We've been maintaining a really good view count today in spite of us trying something new. And thank you for all of the feedback. We will take it under advisements with how we want to proceed. But we do know it has been a bit of a frustration point for you guys today. So... if you or someone you love played Hellblade 2, you may be entitled to financial compensation. I want Yotei to say F GTA and Rockstar and give us that August-September release. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. No. Why take that risk? Why take that risk, dude? I want Yotei to do very well. I want it to sell very well. For the sake of... I want Sucker Punch to make a ton of money. I want that game to be very, very financially successful. I do not want them to go up against GTA 6. That would be so foolish. That'd be a Titanfall 2. That'd be a Titanfall 2 disaster. I do not mind the ad breaks, but not in the middle of a thought or a good conversation. I know. The best thing you can do is just rewind and put it on 2 times. But the problem is I think people are going to get irritated and they're just going to leave, right? They're going to get tired of the disruption. it's counterproductive because it drives people away. Like, at first, it seemed like we were getting really, really good momentum. Like, hey, maybe YouTube is putting us in front of more people. But now it feels like it's just driving people away from the video. Like, it's just like enough is enough. You know, it's every 20 minutes, the guy keeps getting interrupted, and then users are going to leave. My hope is that communicates to the programming of it, and they decide that it's getting depreciating returns, and they'll slow down the interval. That would be my hope. We don't have a Yote release date, but somebody at the company recently said that the game is coming this year. I mean, there were people trying to drive the narrative that it had been delayed. But it's not. It's not been delayed. They literally said they're hiring for a position to help with something to bring the game this year. Was like the way the tweet was phrased. So Yote better be as good as Sekiro combat or I'll riot. I don't think they're going to be aiming at Sekiro level combat. I think they're going to be aiming at Tsushima level combat. It needs to be as good as Tsushima. You don't have control? No. So basically what it is it's automatic ad roll. It's just rolling ads when it thinks it's the best time for it. That's what it is. Excuse me, sorry. And so my concern and worry was we weren't using the feature, and so they were hurting our videos. That had only been like 5 minutes since the last one. Excuse me. Sorry, jeepers. I thought YouTubers controlled that. We do. Here. I can lessen it. I can make it conservative. I can run conservative, balanced, or aggressive. I just switch it to conservative. Let's see if it tones it down. Yeah. Let's see if it tones it down. The point is, if I have it turned on, my theory is that YouTube will be like, oh, hey, he's doing what we want. If you don't turn it on, my concern is they're going to be like, no, that video we lose on. We like streaming is expensive, and I think they're trying to find ways to fix that. So YouTube penalizes you for not using it. That's my worry, right? Has it increased reach though? We'd have to run it for like a week to see. It felt like in the first, I would say within the first hour of the stream, yes, it did feel like we were in a stronger position than we've been typically. But it's hard to know. We also went single topic on title, which could be helping as well. But we're not getting any search. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the switch to a single topic title. Super Googly says, go woke, go broke. I hope Tencent fire all the DEI guys day friggin' one. Okay. I know they have different combat. I just think that Tsushima combat is... Oh, you don't think it's as skill-intensive as Sekiro, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Did you try it on Lethal? New video alert from John Linneman. I didn't get to hit the embargo due to the GDC, but I wanted to make sure you guys took a look at it. I can't wait to play more. John reviews the last Wii U to Switch port that we'll see. Oh, the Xenoblade Chronicles game. I'd like to see your shirt. Can you show it off? Does this angle work for that anymore? There you go. It's from Ripped Apparel. I think I have a code still over there. Oh, and make sure and use the keyboard command, guys. That keyboard promotion that we did today. If you're looking for a keyboard, Keychron sent me one. It's a magnetic Hall effect that they're doing a Kickstarter for. Shipping begins in May. So thank you everybody who probably already clicked on it and went over there. Appreciate you. Oh, Wayne, you did play it on Lethal. I absolutely love the boss fights, but they don't feel memorable to me. What? except for the whole atmosphere around the fights. I think the duels are very memorable. I love them. I bought an expensive keyboard like 2 weeks ago. I have to commit to it. One of those split ergonomic things. No, that's totally fine. I don't get a kickback on this. I don't. They sent it to me. That's the promotion, right? They sent it to me as a way to promote it. So I'm not getting a kickback if you guys order any. You're 70 hours into AC Shadows, and I barely made a dent into the main story. The boss fights are a massive issue with Shadows. In what way? Lego had a leak I wanted to tell you about, and now I can't remember what it was. Was it the Lord of the Rings one or the Hobbit one or something like that? Crap? You said, Paul, the boss fights are crap? Is that what you're trying to say? I hope the Ghost of Yote adds multiple weapons with different stances to make the combat more dynamic with a variety of the enemies. It looks to me like her base stance is going to be dual swords. It's going to be dual swords. And then she can get the what's it called? The Kurigama, the chain blade. She has a rifle instead of a bow and arrow. They used to put time into them. So you don't think they put time into the boss fights, Paul? Dual swords, I'm so down for. I think that's her starting default. I think that's going to be how they differentiate her from Jin Sakai. Her starting default stance is dual swords. It's a Kasurigama, thank you. Yeah, the Kasurigama is like a chain blade, and then there is the dual swords. That's all we've really seen. I don't think we've seen anything else. And then the flintlock rifle. Discord. As Yote, I get Sekiro Combat. I'm not going to pay DLC. I don't like Sekiro. I tried many times, but not a game for me. Yeah, I wouldn't want Sekiro level difficulty in a Ghost of Tsushima game. Like, that would be, if you want it, up it to lethal for sure, right? You can always up it to lethal if you want to increase. So... Linkit Simpsons are coming back. Oh, a Lego Simpsons set is coming back? I have zero interest in that. Sorry. You want a Sekiro too? I would love a Sekiro sequel. I don't think we're going to get one, dude. Miyazaki just moves on, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm moving on to the next thing. I'm moving on to the next thing. I'm moving on to the next thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. Ghost of Tsushima excels in boss fights, and you remember the fights. Oh, yeah, I remember the Straw Hat fight. I remember the duels, for sure. The duels are incredible in Tsushima. The one where you're, like, in the water below the waterfall. There's the one where you fight the girl and all the leaves are falling. There's the one against the Mongol boss. There's the one against your uncle. Oh, my gosh. I hate these ads. I lowered it to conservative. Discord? I read what you put in the Discord. I read it. What do you want me to say other than what I said? Why are you pestering me about it? As Yote, get Sekiro Combat. I not going paid DLC. I don't like Sekiro. I tried many times, but not a game for me. It's broken up, but I read it. I mean, I agreed. I don't want Sekiro level difficulty in Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know what's happening. Are we in a time loop? Like, the combat was more in depth in Tsushima than AC Shadows. I've not played enough AC Shadows to weigh in on that. My thing about Sekiro is once you get the parry timing, the game becomes easy. Oh, shut the frick up, Corey. Shut up, Corey. Why the... That is the take of the week, bro. That's the take of the week. Yeah, once you get the parry timing down, Sekiro's easy. Shut up, bro. It's like, one of the most pristine and yet challenging melee-based combat games out there. And you're just like, well, once you master the parry, I mean, it becomes easy. Get out of here. There's nothing easy about Sekiro. Jiminy Christmas. Good golly. Sometimes, man. Sometimes the things y'all type. I did it for people to think I'm a guy, Troll. Oh, yeah. Just parry Lady Butterfly. Just parry her better. And that's not true either. You don't just have to master the parry in Sekiro. You have to master the balance of, you're going to fight the drunkard and Madame Butterfly completely differently. You're going to fight the owl. You're going to fight Owl completely differently than you fight Ishin. Right? I don't pester you. I mean, I read what you said. I don't know what you want me to do. Now we're having a discussion that's not about the channel or about the topic. Like, don't do this, please. You're always missing what I said. Deal with it. If I miss what you say, deal with it and type it again. Everybody plays according to the same rules. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not singling you out. You didn't say anything that was like that. What was I supposed to say? You don't want Sekiro combat in Yote. Cool, me too. Time to move on. It's a river. The conversation is a river. We're not going to camp out on that. There wasn't much for me to say in response. Chat zooms. Lono's not going to get every message. Yeah, just retype it. Just retype it. You have my permission. I've told you guys this many, many times. I've told you, just re-put your message or put it in the Discord. You drew my attention into the Discord. I read it, and then I moved on. And now we are once again discussing it. For what purpose? For what purpose? I read it, responded, we have moved on. Ghost of Tsushima requires us to use certain stances for certain enemy types. Shadows, you just need to dodge everything and then attack the enemy. One is more in-depth and the other is more free. Stone Spire with the 5 bomb gets us to 415. 10 away from 425. Thank you very much. Mastering parry is a large portion of Sekiro. To be fair, I acknowledge that getting to that point is a challenge. Well, okay. So for me, Corey, I feel like what you're saying happened so late stage, right? Like, I feel like I quote unquote mastered parry in the Owl or the Ishin fight. Like, it was really late when I felt like I got this. I mean, and then the Ishin fight I wanted to quit. And a 5 bomb comes in from wired rope. Little bit of a 5 bomb train. Hey, 420. Nice. Remember to jump on her head. That's right. I feel like the whole mastering parry in Sekiro happens really late. Really, Ad? Golly, I switched it to conservative. I literally switched it to conservative. The combat in Shadows is average at best. I would have to play it to see where they add depth and what they allow me to do, right? That's what I would need to see. I would need to see, like, okay, you're not requiring me to constantly change stances on the fly, right? You're not making me do that. What can I do, though? What can I invest in? What can I add to my combat, repertoire? You don't talk to me enough. Jumping on her head is easy. Whoever said it's a combat genius and they should be respected and revered. Shut up, Omar. I think people are just on different cycles. That's what I theorize they would do. I theorize that they would basically hit a batch of 10 to 20 people, wait a while, and they'd hit a batch of 10 to 20 people and wait a while, which obviously is better than me hitting like a bunch of people all at once, right? Oh, for Pete's sakes. Like, come on. There's just no reason for that level of drama, Raven. Come on. Just take a breath. Take a breath. Nobody's being unkind. There's no reason for this. Like, step away for a few minutes, take a deep breath, and go for a walk or something. Nobody's attacking you. You know that we love you. You're a part of our community. You were flat tiring the conversation over very, very little. There was nothing really to do with the comment that you made. So come on. I agree with you that it happens late. You got through the lion's share of the game fumbling with the parry and getting timing, but once it clicks, the game drastically reduces in challenge. Isn't that true for every game though? Like, every game's challenge dissipates near the end. Yo, it's good, Gabriel. Like, every game's challenge is sort of dissipated by the end, is it not? I don't know. I feel like that's true. You get to the end of Sekiro and you're like, oh, I'm a god now, right? Which is why they have the thing where you can like fight the demons and increase the difficulty and all that. You know what I mean? That's every game. Congrats, you got good. Right, like I don't feel like you're necessarily saying anything that's specific to Sekiro. I would say no. So you didn't feel like at the end of Tsushima you were significantly better than when you started, and then you could go back and like I go back and I replay duels in Tsushima, and I just feel like I'm way better at the game because like I kind of see the matrix of the game now. Whether it's Sekiro or Tsushima, I feel like that's kind of every game. Like essentially what he said was, he's like, well, once you master the parry in Sekiro, it's easy. And I'm like, well, the moment that you quote unquote master the parry in Sekiro is probably in the owl fight or the Ishin fight. Like, you're not doing that in the Drunkard or Madame Butterfly. You've got to kind of figure things out. There are different enemies, different types, different strategies, different pacing, and methods of winning fights. Mastering Mikri is very different than mastering, the range attacks you've got to deal with against Ishin. It's a play on words. You never master the parry. The journey never ends. The pure rage in the Shut Up Omar moment was pure cinema. Shut Up Omar and Wait Until are probably two of the best moments of like my rage career. Those are good moments. Those are good. No. Not really. Ninja Gaiden or Dark Souls games, the end boss is super challenging. Are you... I don't understand your position, Corey. Are you saying Ishin is not super challenging? Are you what? You can't be saying that. Come on. I didn't spend 5 hours in the final fight of Dark Souls 3. I didn't spend 5 hours in a single fight in Elden Ring. It took me 5 hours to beat Ishin. It took me 5 hours to beat Ishin. Like, come on. What are you talking about? He takes people to the cleaners. He takes people to their breaking point. It's like, I don't know if I can do this. And then light breaks through and you're like, wait, I think I can do this. There's a moment where you get to third phase faster and you're like, I've got this. 4 health bars, sword, spear, lightning, gun, and wind. Yeah, no problem. Where can I find the wait until rage moment? No, I think the clip is in the Discord right now. I think we lost the clip, but I think somebody actually has it saved. You just got a Titanite shard. I know. I wish we didn't lose that one. That's a good one. That is a good one. That one is somewhere on this channel. Sadly, it's somewhere on this channel. But we have no idea where, because we watched it sometime in a member's stream somewhere. You guys are getting ads? Yeah, it doesn't seem like switching it to conservative has had any effect. It has had no effect whatsoever. It was when he fought the Ghost Maiden in Mimu Village. I don't know what that is. I don't know the names of anything. I know a couple names from Sekiro. I don't know what that is. Lion King is challenging. Homie, those old Nintendo games are not nice. Those whoever made those games are mean. Those people are mean. They were working out issues. I'm just going to say it. I think a lot of the early Nintendo games were developed by guys that were working on some issues. And they're like, I'm going to make little kids cry. Frick it. Stupid little... My freaking childhood, my dad. This is how I'm going to get them. You're making 8-year-olds cry. Yeah, I know, it's great. Like, they were working out some issues, bro. Those games are ridiculous back then. Like Aladdin, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and freaking Lion King. And they're like, frick you kids. You're never getting past the second level. We love making video games here. It's like, what the frick? This is so hard. Pause. Yeah, Battletoads. Frickin' Battletoads, bro. Who the frick made those games? Sadistic dudes working out some issues, man. Nova with the Member Plus. You can master the parry mechanic, but you still need to master every boss's unique timing and attack patterns. The difficulty is still there. I'm going to add you to the total. Thank you so much. I agree. Ninja Turtles 1 on the original Nintendo. It's like, hi, welcome to our video game. Frick you. Like, early Nintendo, I'm telling you, some of those Nintendo games are like, hey, you liked the movie Aladdin or Lion King, or you like watching the cartoon Chip and Dale or DuckTales. Here, come play this game and frick you. And you're like, oh my gosh. You talk to your friends at school like, did you play that game? You're like, yeah, I can't get past the second level. 80s kids were built different. We rented Lion King over the SNES for 2 weeks and still didn't beat it before returning it to Blockbuster. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that era of time, it was just different. They were basically like, the only way we're going to get longevity out of our game is just make it like balls crushingly hard. You know? Every game just puts your balls in a vice and you're like, this is horrible. But there was nothing else to play, so you just kind of accepted it. You just kind of accepted it. I can't get past the second level, but it's the only game I've got, so I guess I'm trying some more. I just said that, Zubair. It's like, there was nothing else. It was like, what are you going to do? You know? You're going to bounce around at like Scrooge McDuck on your cane, and you're going to try to get past that jump that you just can't make, you know? I mean, I'm just... It's just one of those things, man. You know? They were working out some issues back then. They were working out some issues. All right, I'm going to turn it off. We've got over 2 hours of experiment. So... there we go. I can set the frequency. I can set the frequency. So right now I've got it on manual. We could try and experiment with, okay, maybe if I set the frequency, it's not as terrible. But the problem is if I set the frequency, I think it's going to hit everybody. And that's way too disruptive. But I just shut it off. Science for the day is over. Yeah, It didn't help. I mean, it seemed like it was helping, but then it seemed like it started hurting. So maybe we run it for the first 30 minutes of the show, right? First 30 to 45 minutes of the show, getting the good graces of whatever it is that they're doing, and then we turn it off. They made a Chip and Dale game. I rage quit and broke my controller. That game was freaking hard. DuckTales, those freaking levels were ridiculous. They were so ridiculous. Games back then were tough, man. If you guys want to help us out right now, show some appreciation. We're turning it off, right? We're not done yet. Try to get us to 400 likes. Let's see if we can't kind of have a bit of a bounce back here. We did send a lot of people away in the last probably hour or so because the interval was just too much. How can you break an original Nintendo controller? They were bulletproof. They kind of were built like a Nokia phone. You know what I mean? I have been pre-approved for Hitman World of Assassination PSVR 2. Didn't that just come out? Well, what am I supposed to do with that? It's already out. I can't do anything with that. I can't make your content or anything. Man, I would have done... Well, I don't know. VR doesn't do well with you guys. A lot of you don't like VR. But still. There's nothing I can do with it now. My wife was just talking about the Lion King game the other day. I remember going to my friend's house. And they had Aladdin. And they were climbing a rope. And his arm animation, you know the arm animation I'm talking about? Like going like this, like climbing the rope. Blew my dadgum mind. I was like, that looks so cool. That looks so good. There are a few moments in my life where like the graphics of a game back then kind of blew me away. One of them was the climbing animation on the rope in Aladdin. Another one was the detail on Donkey Kong in Donkey Kong Country. And then I'm trying to think. Probably like Mario Kart in general was just like, what the frick is this? How'd they do this? Like, it was so cool. Star Fox? Star Fox was dope. I preferred Star Fox 64. I like Star Fox 64 more. It had that lock-on mechanic that I really liked. I remember enjoying that. The soundtrack for Donkey Kong Country was unmatched. I would literally go and talk to Funky Kong just to hear his music. Oh, yeah. Like, oh, my gosh. I would just go to him just to hear the music. I'm like, I got to hear it. I got to go talk to Funky Kong. You know? If you didn't go talk to Funky Kong just to let his music play for a little bit, then I don't necessarily know if you ever really played Donkey Kong Country. Cranky Kong? Yeah, Cranky Kong's intro is good. Yeah. The water music. It's like... They did stuff back then, man. I'm telling you. There's something about when innovation is dovetailed with creativity. It's like, well, we could do this or we could do that. Oh my gosh, we've never done this before. You know? Man, Donkey Kong Country was mind-blowing. Playing out my joke earlier, downloading Baldur's Gate 3 over a 14.4K modem would take 785 days. Internet has gotten a little faster in 30 years. I support this message. Well, thank you. Toe Jam and Earl. I actually never got into Toe Jam and Earl. Yeah. Never did. We played Earthworm Jim. We played that. I remember that. Drake has a song that uses one of the Donkey Kong themes as the beat. I want to say it was like track 6, God. I mean, I guess that tracks, you know. Kids like video games. Come on now. Yeah, I had to. That's the rules. That's the rules. You know? If you didn't play this, Gunstar Heroes and the Genesis. Oh, my cousins had a Genesis. We didn't have one, though. We didn't have one. You about to start a war? That's fine. Can't really start a war that Kendrick won, can you? Can you really start a war that's over? I mean, did you watch the same halftime show that I watched? I mean, I don't know. What war are we talking about? Frank with 4 months. Enjoying the show, Lona. Have you decided on a day for the Reverse Seer stream? Yes, we have decided. It's official. We're obviously going to promote this a bunch next week. Thank you for renewing. The Reverse Seer IRL stream is next week on the 5th. It'll be around 5 o'clock Eastern time. So set your clocks to 5 on the 5th. 5-5. 4-5-5. 4-5-50. 4-5-25-5. The 5th of April. Remember the 5th. Remember the 5th of April. That doesn't work. Never mind. Yeah, April the 5th at 5. So next week on Saturday, we will do an IRL stream. I'll get set up outside with the grill and a table. We'll get a little bit of bourbon. We'll make a whole thing of it. It's going to be great. It's to celebrate 600 people at Member Plus and above. Now, we've slipped a little bit under 600. That's like the most important thing that we've been working on as a channel is getting folks, the 2,000 some odd people who are always on a gifted, those of you that can, jump out and pick up a Member Plus membership, right? They have updated the member tab on the channel. It should be easier to upgrade. They just sent me a notification about that yesterday. If you cannot afford it, we want you here, and we're glad that you keep getting a gifted. There are people who can't get a gifted, like Feed and my brother, and some of that's because we got to thin out that group of people that are always in there, right? We got to move some people out. So if you can afford it, make room for others. We've got people like Feed and Derek that are going weeks now without a gifted. The Cool Spot game. I remember that game. Yeah. I remember that game. Okay. I think what we're going to do, too, is I have an Assassin's Creed Shadows video coming for you guys today. Assassin's Creed Shadows, not what you think it is. AC typo. AC Shadfoes. Zone under fire since we first learned about its characters after much anticipation of its feudal Japan settings, where AC Red, Ubisoft continues to struggle, but Assassin's Creed Shadows is doing well. Assassin's Shadows. Okay. Okay, so that video, I think what we'll do with that video is, given our experiment and what we're kind of seeing right now, we should probably run that video at like 1:15 or 1:30. Citizen JV says, I have been getting gifted. I'm not complaining. It's all good. Right, but Citizen JV, for every person that can't afford it and it's kind of getting left out in the cold, there's probably folks that could jump up and do it. There are. And I know some of you have tried and it's been a pain in the butt. YouTube allegedly has made that easier. They have since updated the membership tab. So make sure your iPhone or Android app is up to date and give it a try. Go to the membership tab on my channel and see if you can upgrade, all right? We need folks jumping out of that pool. You gotta make room for others. We need that floor to go up. And so we'll probably do that 1:15. So we are a little shy on goal, but that's okay. You guys hit the goal last week, so we owe you anyway. We'll do a stream tonight. We haven't missed that goal for, I don't even know how long. I think it's been months since we've missed it. So you've got a little bit of time to scramble. Madam did say we should run a goal. She's like, one bite of the steak with ketchup. I'm like, I don't want to do that. She thinks we should do that, but we'll do that next week. I don't know if there's anything you want to push for tonight. We were going to just hang out and do some Jackbox. If you guys want to scramble really quickly before 1:15, well, I'll set it for, I think what I'll do is I'll set it for 1:30. I'll set it for 1:30, and then if we feel like we want to go earlier, we can, but I think 1:30 is probably a good time. That'll give us enough time to keep talking, keep hanging out. It'll also give people enough time to see that it's over there and it's ready to go. There we go. Okay. Steak and ketchup, that's weird. It's disgusting. Why are you running ads, little bro? I turned them off. Are they still going? I literally turned them off. They shouldn't be happening now. I wonder if you turn that on at the very beginning of the stream, if like you literally can't get it to stop. Like I turned it off probably 10 minutes ago. You got one when you joined? Oh, that's not the same. Getting one when you joined is not, that's not the same. That's not a mid-roll. That's a pre-roll. Yeah. That's not a mid-roll. That's pre-roll. I don't have any control over that. You haven't gotten one since you turned it off? Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, pre-roll is not something I can control. That's just, you're going to get ads when you show up to a stream or a video. You just are. Running them in the middle of the live stream is something I have been saying no to. I have been telling YouTube no for like 12 to 18 months on that. They've been wanting us to turn that feature on for a very long time, and I have consistently said no. So, are you confident about the weather? I mean, we'll obviously have to make a judgment call, but right now it's showing that Saturday to be clear skies in the 60s. The day before is going to be in the 70s, but rain. So hopefully the weather holds. I don't, can't control everything, but, can't control everything. Well, we'll do our best. Loved all the Phantasy Star games. 4 was my favorite. Spring's finally here. Please keep saying M-O? Huh? What are you talking about? If you guys haven't hit like yet, make sure and smash like. Let's try to get 400 likes. We're just kind of hanging out, talking about anything in the news, anything you guys are seeing. I could pull up the news feeds right now. We could just kind of talk about anything going on. Throw me a question. Use the question command. Use the keyboard command. Use the soda command, use the coffee command. Those are all great ways to support what we do. If you missed the announcement, we are working with Sprecher. A bunch of you guys ordered that soda last week. I'm not a soda drinker. I only have caffeine in the morning, and I like it. There's no caffeine. Sugar count is high, but if you're a soda drinker, you're probably used to that. Did you get the T-Lu controller? I didn't. I don't really need it. Wait, Lona, you've been trying to control the weather again? Yeah, sometimes I've tried. Oh, keep saying no to ads. I wonder if the workaround for ads during the live stream is to turn them on at the start to maximize early engagement and then turn it off. That's what I was thinking, Corey. Run it for the first 45 minutes to an hour. Everybody just kind of deals with it, and then we shut it off. I don't know. It seemed to help for the first hour, and then it started hurting us. Like, for the first 45 minutes or so, people were like, okay, whatever. And then after that, I think people got sick of it, and they bailed, which is completely understandable. It's why I've consistently said no and, wouldn't turn the feature on. So, yeah. Use the streamer command, and he'll be able to only engage with you, even if you're not making any sense. This is correct. You can use the question command and submit questions, and then that way they can be featured on the channel. And I'm going to clear the queue now, so if anybody uses that. I didn't need one earlier, but got one because never got an exclusive game controller. Yeah, I don't like spending money on myself, in general. I don't like spending money on myself. So, yeah. Whenever Lona gets an ad, he should pause himself real time for 20 seconds so nobody misses anything. That's right. Well, when we were on Twitch, this is a feature that I loved over there, was that if you were a paying subscriber, because they call them subs over there, if you were a paying member over there, I could check a box so that you never got ads. That was great. That was really nice, I probably should schedule the thing for after the upload, which is going to be... split fixing with Hilly. But Hilly, I don't know when Hilly's available, but I'm going to reuse the settings. Members only. I'm going to set it for 2. Yeah. I'm getting mentioned in the Discord. What's going on? Oh, I think somebody mentioned me in the members chat instead of the live chat, and it was just a mistake. Okay. Okay. All right. There we go. I got the thing scheduled for Hilly. We'll end up in that stream a little early. If we end up in it early and Hilly's not ready, that's totally fine. That is something that we've done before. Not worried about that. Edit Premiere. Do that. Save. Edit that. Edit that. And then redirect that back. There we go. Okay. Oh, like new channels on Twitch. What a way to welcome a new viewer. 5 ads. Well, pre-rolls, the way they did it, I don't know if they're still doing it like that over there. Pre-rolls get disabled if you're running ads at a good interval. But the problem was, and this is when I was still over there, so this is a long time ago, they basically wanted you to be running ads like at a ridiculous interval just to turn off pre-roll. So it like didn't even help. It was like, well, now I'm just punishing the people that are watching. You can start in about an hour and 15. That's fine. That's perfect. I would immediately nope out of that channel. Well, yeah, I mean, anybody would. You're not getting to see anything, you know? Hogwarts Legacy DLC got canceled. I don't know if you guys saw that. That's a huge bummer. I was like, oh, man, that'd be such a good reason for me to go back in, roll credits, and then try out the DLC. Warner Brothers, they probably have just shifted everybody to the new game. If they've learned anything that, you know, Insomniac learned with its own experiment with DLC versus an actual new release, it's like, well, we're not even going to make that much money on it, you know? And that's probably why they shifted. That would be my guess. WB Games is in a shambles. Yeah, I think they're just moving to, you know, the whatever's going to give them the highest return. You know? Last I recall, Purple would run ads every 10 minutes. Yeah, if it was for everybody and they told you and they were like, we're doing it, you'd be like, I just got interrupted. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Biggest issue with ads is when they are completely random. The timing, the substance, the duration. Yeah. I don't think it got us good results today. I was thinking if it was like blatantly obvious that they were like shooting us all over the platform like out of a cannon, it'd be like, well, maybe it's worth it. It's not worth it. Are we getting a chair sponsor or what? Yes, the chair will be here today. I don't know if it is here yet. I should check and see, because if it is, I'll want to bring it inside. You know, if it's sitting on the porch. The ring, I sometimes have to snooze the ring because it gets ridiculous. Like if oh my gosh, I think it's out there. Let me make sure my family didn't bring it in. Tap to go live. I think my family brought it in. Yeah, they did. I can see the past footage. It's in the house. It's in the house. So that will be announced next week. That'll be announced next week. I'm trying to get a code and a link. Excuse me. YouTube being annoying when they drop like 20 to 40 minute ad and you're listening in bed. Yep. Can be pretty annoying. Adam's probably sitting on it right now. No, I'll have to put it together. I will have to put it together. So I'm very excited. I'm really excited. We're getting a lot of things we were hoping to have happen. We've got even bigger things coming this year. So when those things finally land, you guys will be pretty excited as well. Yeah. So if you haven't done so yet, try to get us to 400 likes. Double check that if you've renewed. We're teasing with not hitting the goal. We're gonna go in a little while. We're gonna go to my upload about Assassin's Creed Shadows. We're just sort of free flowing right now. We can kind of talk about whatever. Hoping Dragon's Dogma 2 gets some new DLC. I thought they were. Maybe I'm thinking of another game. I thought they had plans to do content for that one. I thought they did. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I could be thinking of something else. I can't remember now. Twitch? No. DLC for Dragon's Dogma 2. Have you seen Venom 3? I have not. Po Buddy's Nerfic with the VIP. There it is. Bumps the line to 423. When this hits 425, I owe you guys a 20 bomb. We just need 2 more. 2 more. And Stone Spire's going to bump the line by 1. Audio popping for anybody else? Shouldn't be. Don't watch Venom 3. Why? Is it that bad? And a single comes in from Po Buddy's Nerfic, and I owe you guys 20 members. We're going to try and do a little bit of a scramble here. Here is what I owe you. I'm all paid up now. Once this hits the chat, you'll be more insulted than watching your least favorite Star Wars or Lord of the Ring. I don't think I care that much about Venom, but, you know, obviously I... There it is. There's a 20 I owe you guys. Thank you so much. And again, the like count kind of stalled out and stuck, so make sure you've hit that. We're so close to 400 likes. That really helps out when we hit those new like milestones, especially when we're gifted members and doing a bit of a scramble here. I blame driving. Yeah, if you're driving and it's getting a pop, you might be getting that weird Bluetooth pop that sometimes happens. When I listen to my show in my Bluetooth headphones or even in my car sometimes, like if I'm listening, a lot of times I'll go back and listen to the show at like a 1.5 and I'm looking for clips for like Twitter or for shorts. It'll pop sometimes. I think sometimes that's just the Bluetooth. Wish me luck. I take my ham radio technician test this weekend. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully it goes well. Take-Two CEO says AI users who think they can push a button and say create the next GTA 6 are completely wrong. The big creative leaps forward will be generated by humans. That's an encouraging take from Strauss Zelnick. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to make my grandma wish she had a PlayStation 6. The dude has no idea what he's talking about. Netflix Game Boss has said he doesn't believe console-style games are the future. Look at the younger generation. Are 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds dreaming of owning a PlayStation 6? I'm not sure. He's making a fatal mistake, and he thinks that gaming habits of children will never change, and they will game like children for the rest of their lives. That is incredibly foolhardy. That is incredibly foolhardy. My nephews went from gaming like this all the time to now playing on a PS5 and a PC. That is so out of touch. Gamers' preferences mature. They don't stay stagnant. They don't. Lona has proof. Proof. What are you referring to, Eric? Nobody continues to game into their teenage and adult years the same way they did as a kid. Like that's just so out of touch to think that gaming habits don't mature and that preferences, kids change. Right. I don't think so. I think that generation games that way, but then eventually I think they will want more serious experiences. They're not just going to be like, I'm happy to play on my cell phone for the rest of my life. Like, okay. There are some genres I won't even touch now. When I was a teenager, I played so many fighting and racing games. I won't touch those games now. I have many different tastes. Many at my work still have the PS4. I feel like the companies who say stuff like that are purposely trying to force market changes by saying those statements. Yeah, instead of predicting where the market will go, they're like hoping the market, they're hoping that sector of the market doesn't change. because they're wanting to place those bets on like, well, let's bet on mobile games. Let's bet on very, very disposable gaming, habits. Yeah, like when I was a teenager, all I wanted to do was play PvP, arena-style games, Call of Duty, Quake, and all of that with my buddies. And now I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play that kind of crap anymore. Gamers' tastes mature as they get older and gain additional extra income to use on games. As a kid, we likely would have played any game our parents got us, and now we won't touch those as adults. That's another good point, Corey, is once you have disposable income, your habits change too. Like, think about it like this. Right now, all my kids want to watch are things like Bluey and Disney movies. And guess what? Do you think that when they become adults, that's all they're going to want to watch? Or are they going to watch more serious content like the Game of Thrones, Daredevil, Andor, things like that? Like, obviously, every entertainment medium evolves as the child evolves and grows. You're not like, well, I know I'm 32, but when I was a kid, all I ever watched was Pokemon and Bluey, and now that's all I watch. I don't watch anything else. I still just watch those shows. Now, if you're an adult and you continue to partake in those like shows like Bluey and stuff, that's fine, but that's not the primary thing that you're watching. I'm an adult and Bluey's the main show for me. Right, but that's not all you're watching. I was trying to hit 425 with my second one, but the other guy beat me to it. We are at 426 now. What? I thought you got us to 424. Oh, you did another one, Stone. I missed it. I'm sorry, Stone. You did two. Agents of Chaos from Stone gets us to 426. I'm all paid up, and we're 74 away from the weekly goal. Yeah, I like Bluey as much as the next guy, but like, I grew up watching Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Disney movies, and now it's like, I'll watch the Punisher and Daredevil, and I'll watch The Last of Us, and I'll watch Penguin. Those aren't for kids. My preferences have changed. When I was a kid, I read Dr. Seuss, and now I'm halfway through the second Stormlight Archives book. Like, to think that because kids are gaming in a more simplistic or juvenile way on mobile devices or playing more disposable gaming, and that's never going to change when they get older, that's got to be one of the dumbest predictions I think I've ever seen anybody make. Like, if I was that guy's boss, I'd be like, man, I don't know. You seem to have a very narrow view of media and entertainment preferences and how they shape and change over the years. Isn't this difference is genre and not acceptance of platform? We didn't grow up with phones as viable high-end gaming these kids are. It's genre, though. It's totally genre. The medium dictates what you can play. You're not playing games on here that are as serious as like an Elden Ring, even Breath of the Wild. Like, you aren't getting games like that on your mobile. Now, yes, mobile devices are getting better, but when you bring console-style games to the mobile platform, they don't do well because the consumer base and the genre and the medium are all interwoven with each other. Somebody who's playing disposable, Clash of Clans, Candy Crush style gaming on their mobile device, eventually they're going to be like, I would like to play Spider-Man 3, or I would like to play Wolverine, or I would like to play the next God of War, something more serious. I would like to play the next Assassin's Creed. I get what you're saying, but I do think that the medium 100% dictates and restricts genre and style. Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages. One of my 5 grandkids wants to see Bluey on Pawpaw's giant TV. At some point, they're going to leave the room, and I just keep watching. That's right. That's right, Super Gaming. The Pass the Parcel episode's good. It's just good entertainment. Black Desert Online is ending support for the last-gen consoles. Cut them off. Do it. NES, SNES, 64, GameCube. Yeah, like the games that I was playing on my regular Nintendo, even then were limited by the medium and by the technology, and the games that I'm playing now are far more expansive. Like, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is nothing compared to Breath of the Wild. They're not even in the same universe. So no, I don't think the idea that like kids right now that are happy to just be, whiling away the hours on Fortnite or Clash of Clans, like they're not going to get into their 20s, have their own money and be like, no, I just still game like this. It's awesome. No, they're like, I got a TV. I've got an apartment. I'm going to get a console. I'm going to get a PC. Like they're not, there's no way they're going to stay stagnant and static in that. Like there just isn't. Like that kind of consumer behavior, you don't see that in any other medium. You just don't. Yeah, I'm just going to stay where I am and continue consuming what I've been consuming since I was 7. Like, no. The minute you've got your own money and your own place, and again, your own TV, you're going to be thinking differently about the games that you play. You're going to be thinking differently about what you consume. Now, in some markets, that will look different. They might get something like a handheld or a Switch because in some markets they're never home. But in the West, like in America, like no, that's always going to be a trend of the minute you're into, early and middle adulthood with your own disposable income, you're going to think about your entertainment preferences a lot differently. You're going to subscribe to TV packages, you're going to consume shows and movies that you never watched as a kid, and you're going to do the same thing with gaming. A $5 super chat tip from Wired Rope. We're one away from Confetto, and he says, I'm PC Master Race, but when I got into it through the 90 series card, it was $800. If prices don't change, people are going to move to consoles. How many people did we see on Reddit and Twitter buy a PlayStation 5 Pro because of Assassin's Creed Shadows? I'm telling you, this idea that no one's moving to PlayStation from PC, I mean, those boys they're hoping that that's the case. The new user acquisition of the PlayStation platform, I can't see it only being from Xbox people or non-gamers. I don't think that the next fiscal reporting from PlayStation is going to be above 40% new user acquisition in the last fiscal year. If you expect me to believe that almost half of the people who bought a PS5 in the previous fiscal year are all either brand new to gaming or from Xbox and that none of them are from PC, I think that's a delusional take. I think that's a copium take of like, well, no. We can't possibly have people from our team go over there. And it's like, you don't have a team. You don't. You have people that play over there, but they're not like allegiant to PC the way that some people are. I think a lot of the people that are making the jump are jumping from PC. And I think the Pro is making up a good portion of them. And we've seen the posts on Reddit and Twitter. People saw the breakdowns of AC Shadows and they're like, what the frick am I doing? Like, look at that. And then they buy. It's cheaper than upgrading. You see Digital Foundry saying AC Shadows is a generational leap on the Pro over the PS5. You see that global illumination, you're like, that looks incredible. That'll look fabulous on my big screen, and it's cheaper than upgrading my rig right now. I saw plenty of people posting pictures. They were like, yeah, this is it. It's time. I'm doing it. This is compelling. I'm PC and Pro. Yeah, 2 people in chat. Like, yeah, listen, if your preferences are like, I'm never leaving, I love it here, I'm always going to upgrade, I'm always going to be front of the wave, go for it, man, have a blast. But to keep spreading this notion that, like, the Pro is a scam and that nobody's going to switch, man, you have lost that fight. Holy crap, have they lost that fight. It's obvious. The numbers are too high for it to not be. A percentage of people buying PS5s are coming from PC. You can see it in the numbers. For an entire fiscal year, you're not getting over 40% new users if they're only coming from Xbox or seemingly, I guess, nowhere. Like, come on. The odds, the math and the odds are in your favor. You can't boast about having the largest user base, right? PC and Steam's the largest user base. Well, the odds are in your favor that if 40-something% of the people buying PlayStation are brand new, there's too many PC users for it to literally be none of them. Do you get the logic and the reasoning behind that? There's just too many PC users. There's too many people on Steam for the number of people buying PlayStation brand new for it to not be anybody from PC. There's too many PC users. There's so many of them. Just renewed for April. Can you celebrate it in chat so that I don't double dip when you can? And a 5-bomb from Gambit Zero. He's like, come on, boys. We're not missing the goal this week. We got about a half an hour. And he gets us to 431. We're a 20-bomb away from 450. Thank you so much, Gambit Zero. Street Shadow says, I'm PC and Pro, but 95% on Pro since having a kid, now 5 months old, because it's easier to play a game with him while doing a contact nap. That's right. You just hold him. Lono, I believe a massive influence on PC shifting to console is the price of GPUs in the mid to high range. If prices drop, it'll slow down. And a 20-bomb from Gambit Zero. He sets himself up. That is an Agents of Chaos 20-bomb. Unbelievable. The tag team could happen. It's dangling there right now. 50 away from the weekly goal. Holy mackerel. Thank you, Gambit Zero. He's been one of the big contributors lately, man. We got some big, big gifts from folks that have been really stepping up. I don't disagree with you, Hattigan. I really don't. It's been a bit of a perfect storm. I mean, track the perfect storm with me as the clouds have kind of formed to make this happen. The Pro drops and the PC-centric YouTubers seethe, mauled, scream, yell, and obfuscate about the price. They completely mislead the public about the price. They don't do any fair measurements, any fair breakdowns. The only one who was even close that I saw was Linus, and even he was like, we had to cut corners to get here, okay? So they do all that. They planted a really, really good seed bed for right now. And Von Raz with the VIP, thank you. They planted a really, really great seed bed right now because you got PC loyalists and PC gamers all riled up about how the Pro is a scam and was a joke. And then what happens? You walk into 2025, GPU prices and promise of GPU performance gets into like a really weird place. And then AC Shadows drops and looks ridiculous and mind-blowing and really good on the Pro. And people are like, what? I thought that thing was a scam. I thought that thing was a joke. I'm looking at GPU prices, and I'm looking at the Pro, and I'm thinking, this is kind of an easy decision all of a sudden. Like, little did they know all the blustering, screaming, seething, and mauling that these guys did about the Pro back when it first came out. They laid a really, really good seed bed for it to look really nice in early 2025. And they're not going to like that I'm saying this, and I don't care. Because it's true. It's true. You're seeing market response right now. You're seeing people post pictures. You're seeing people saying like, enough is enough. I'm going to this. This is easy. This is an easy choice now. A third-party game looks this good. It's cheaper than upgrading my rig. Adam King with a whole year. Appreciate the content. Glad to be here. And B with 19 months at a VIP bumps the line by 2. 554. Thank you so much. But I was told there was hardly a difference. Yeah, like, you can only mislead the public for so long. Let the hearer understand. I believe this in the bone marrow of my soul. You can only mislead the public for so long. The bottom always falls out beneath the weight of truth. It always does. It always does. If you convinced a bunch of people that follow you, trust you, or consume your content that the Pro is a joke, overpriced, and a scam, you convince them of that, what the frick do they think about you when they watch a Digital Foundry breakdown that's like the difference between the PS5 and the Pro and Assassin's Creed Shadows is a generational leap? And you see the side-by-sides, and you're like, what the frick? I was told this thing was a joke and a scam and that PSSR had flopped and failed. I was told that FSR was replacing it. I was told this thing was a joke and that it sucked. It doesn't look that way anymore, does it? I've always said in these instances, the reason I stick to my guns and the reason I hold firm on my convictions and what I do is I base it off of what I feel is the closest and most accurate thing to the truth that I can get. And it's like, time and truth are on our side here, boys. The people that went nuts about this and lied and misled people and claimed, like, I could build a PC stronger than that for 700. Sure, Jan, where's the video of you doing it? Where is it? I told you it would be silent. I told you nobody would make those videos. I said, they're going to sit here and pound their chests like King Kong, and then when the dadgum time comes to make the video, they're not going to do it. They're not going to. Not a single one of the people that shouted and screamed about that put their money where their mouth was. Not a single one. Upscaling is a crutch for lack of power? What do you mean? And Stone Spire is fishing. He's fishing for a 20 bomb. He wants it from 455 to 475. With every day that passes, the people that obfuscate and mislead and cheer for a side, and they misrepresent things to the public, instead of just saying what their preference is, instead of just being like, well, I prefer PC and here's why, they mislead people. I want you to really, really hear this. With every passing day, they become less and less relevant and less trustworthy. You can gun for me and target me all you want. You know it's true. Down deep in the darkest parts of you, you know that it's true. You know you misled people. You know you misrepresented things. And the only thing you can do is name call now. Because it's like, well, what do you got? You don't got facts. You know, there's nothing objective about this now. The breakdown of games coming out on the Pro are making people second guess what they thought. They're like, wait a minute. I thought this thing sucked. I thought this thing was a joke. Mind's Eye just became available for pre-order. Really? We haven't even seen real gameplay yet. I would not pre-order that game. I don't think we've seen real gameplay of Mind's Eye yet. That footage felt very shenanigans. It didn't seem real. Stepped away at the beginning of Morning Coffee to watch the show to miss any news. No. You got an alert? An alert about Mind's Eye. And listen, AC Shadows is a third-party game. AC Shadows is a third-party game. They worked in conjunction with Sony. They haven't even implemented PSSR yet. PSSR, the thing that flopped and failed and is being upgraded to FSR4, replaced by FSR4. Bunch of lies. That's true. They haven't even implemented it yet. Imagine what first-party studios are going to start doing. I'm here to tell you, boys. I'm here to tell you. It's why I've just decided to not pay attention to any of it and just give you guys all you need to make good choices and good judgment. If you hear everything and then you decide to go to PC, at least you did so with your eyes wide open, not based on a bunch of falsehood. I guess that would be a crutch too, according to Wired Rope. The graphics cards are doing the same thing. I don't know why upscaling is a crutch for lack of power. Yeah, that same can be said for, like 85% of the gaming experiences out there. A huge percentage of the people who are gaming right now on PC are using upscalers. Like, the demonization of upscalers is, I will never understand that at all. That seems very antithetical to what the PC guys have been celebrating for a long time. To celebrate DLSS and to celebrate things like frame gen and stuff like that, and to suddenly poo-poo upscalers is weird. You have a 5090? Who cares? That doesn't have any bearing on the fact that, like, upscalers are good at what they do, and the vast majority of gamers use them. Your preference is fine, Wired Rope. You're like, I don't like upscalers. I run my 5090. Okay, you could run upscalers on your 5090 and probably turn other things up and on depending on the game. I don't know your settings, but my basic understanding of upscalers is you could give yourself more headroom by using upscalers and maybe turn other things on. I don't know. Do you have every single thing turned on to max? Do you have every single thing cranked? Ray tracing, path tracing, texture, resolution, all of it? The 5090 is built around DLSS. Why even buy that? That's what I'm saying. You don't upscale on high-end hardware? Good golly, man. What you're saying just doesn't make any sense, Wired Rope. Why would you buy a 5090 that is quite literally built to do a lot of the new things with DLSS, and you're like, yeah, but I'm not gonna use it? What? I upscale on my high-end hardware? I don't know why you wouldn't upscale on high-end hardware. My understanding is that it would give you better frames, more consistent frames, and you could potentially go turn on more settings. Like you may have some things turned to high instead of ultra, or maybe have certain things off. I don't know, but that just doesn't make any sense to me. To not run the upscaler to not run DLSS especially. Like why? I'm not the expert, but chat, wouldn't that actually shorten the life of the card? Aren't you making the card work harder than it needs to? Native only? Yeah, I did. Go ahead. Your preferences don't dictate reality. Upscalers are not crutches. Upscalers are not pejoratives. Upscalers are one of the most significant advancements within how to make games look and run well. Your refusal to use them doesn't dictate reality. I play it high with upscalers. I'm not joking when I say, for me, 120 is what 60 is for Lono. That's fine. You can have your own personal belief that you don't want to use upscalers because you think that they're a crutch, right? You can have that personal belief. But to project that on the entire industry and to act like, well, the Pro is lame because it uses an upscaler. Well, there are plenty of people on really, really high-end rigs with really nice cards that are happy to use an upscaler. They're not crutching. They're seeing the value of it. They're like, well, this is going to give me more headroom. I'm going to get more frames. Or I'm going to be able to turn on other features that maybe are dropping the frames. You know, maybe you want to be at 120. But the path tracing and the ray tracing and the texture detail or the shadow detail makes it difficult. So you're like, well, if I turn on the upscaler, it's going to help. I couldn't disagree more with Wired Road. Upscalers are made to turn 1440 into 4K, not turn 540 into 1080. They suck at that. Again, this is why the fanboy community is a joke. They literally say things that are against their own self-interest to downplay another platform. DLSS was created because NVIDIA pushed ray tracing too early. Huh? I don't know the timeline or the impetus behind DLSS. I just know it gets really good results. It gets really good results, man. It's getting more and more impressive every time I've seen videos. So who cares about what it was born out of? DLSS was created because the silicon is much easier to run than adding more raster horsepower. Guys, we got 12 minutes and we're going to go to this Assassin's Creed video. So we have not missed the goal in a long, long time. You got 12 minutes to try to scramble and hit this 500 goal. I don't have an incentive for tonight other than I can't think of anything. I don't know. I can't think of what you could make me do. We were going to play Jackbox with Madam and just chill. JC's asking me in a question. Let me have this pop up on the screen. Lono, do you know when the update for PSSR is supposed to be rolling out? I don't know when they're adding it to Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't know when they're updating it on the actual device, or if they roll out the updates to the dev kits and then the games themselves can tap into more. I'm not quite sure how it works. They haven't really outlined precisely They've not really outlined precisely how it's going to work. And the Member Plus comes in from Ruthless Blaxican. He's like, come on, boys. We can do it. We can do it. 456. This man attacked every PC sold in the last decade to downplay a $700 console. That's where the fanboy community is right now. I don't know if he's being a fanboy. I mean, he could be snobbish about upscalers. There's different threads of thought here. There are people who definitely fanboy, okay? it seems like he's more of a snob. No offense intended in me saying that. No offense at all. I think I like snobs. I do. I think snobs give you a very radical position on something, and you get like a very hyper-focused view of something. I'm not attacking the pro. Yeah, I think he's coming across more of a snob than an anti-console like warrior. And I mean no offense in saying he's being a snob. I don't think he would even care that I'm saying that. He would probably say I am being a snob. Upscaling is the whole selling point of the new cards. Lona, would you play Dead Signal one day? I feel it would be fun to see if you can survive the killers. I don't know. Is there any fun, goofy games we've been waiting on to play with Madam? And Behemoth does a 5-bomb and gets us to 460. He's like, I believe, 461. He's like, I believe we can do it if we all scramble together. You guys have 10 minutes before we go to this Assassin's Creed video about Assassin's Creed's not what you think. Assassin's Creed Shadows is not what you think. The 5090 was sold on its capacity to use AI upscaling and frame gen. No. That's what I was a little bit confused by. I was like, I thought all the marketing about the current series of cards was a lot to do with the cool stuff they're doing with upscaling and frame gen. No, it wasn't. So what was the 5090 marketed on? Like, what were they trying to sell it on? Raw power? Mandragana. Mandragana looks really good. It's not out yet, though, is it? I put that on y'all's radar. That was the 5070 as strong as a 4090. According to the AI overview, the NVIDIA GeForce 5090 is the most powerful consumer-grade GPU, offering significant performance boosts for gaming and creative workloads, especially in 4K and with features like DLSS4, and multi-frame generation, but at a very high price. Google AI seems to think that like DLSS4 and multi-frame gen was a huge part of the marketing push of the 5090. I don't know what to tell you. People in chat are saying that that's how they marketed it. Those are 50 series features, yes. Wired Rope, I need you to explain to me how those aren't reasons to buy it. Brother, those are features. That'd be like saying the PS5 Pro was marketed on the features of advanced ray tracing, PSSR, and what was the other one? I forget the other one. And saying like, oh, those are just features. That's not a reason to buy it. Those were quite literally the reasons trotted out to buy it. It had to be a huge part of the marketing. The silicon's not better. The 5090 just has a bigger chip and more transistors than a 4090, says Zubair. DLSS4 is literally amazing, says Omar. You guys got 7 minutes. We need 39 members in 7 minutes so we don't lose our streak. I don't know if you can bat signal. I can help. We're 1 away from Confetto on Super Chats. We're 1 away from Confetto. They did not market it on raw power. Yeah, like coming out of their presentation, all I saw people talking about was upscaling and fake frames. And I was like, wow, they must have really heavily focused on that because that's all anybody's talking about. DLSS was created because we are reaching the threshold for simply brute forcing massive hardware gains in short amount of frames. And John always is going to bump the line by 1. He says many hands make light work, and Behemoth is going to make confetti, so that's going to bump us to 463. I owe a member. I'm going to do it right now. You guys got 6 minutes. It's going to be a bit of a scramble. We are going to an Assassin's Creed Shadows upload, and then I do have a member stream after that where we'll be playing with Hilly. We'll be playing some more Split Fiction with Hilly. Having some drinks and laughs with my boy. Hilly, Mr. Hilberg. 50 series was just a 40 series refresh using AI for frame gen. Fake Frames was literally 5070, was a 4090. And a 20 bomb from Behemoth! It's true to his name! And he gets us to 483. He's doing member bombs. He's doing super chats. He is a Behemoth. And he gets us really close. 17 away from not losing the streak. We got 5 minutes left. Don't forget, if you're getting a gifted member right now, you can come to the next segment after the Assassin's Creed Shadows upload. You can come with us to the next segment, and that'll be me hanging out with Hilly. And then tonight you can come and hang out as well. You can come and hang out tonight. Gray name gang, says Vithar. And Raphael's going to bump the line by 1 and get us to 484. Many hands make light work. Thank you, Raphael. I've said this before, but chips used to get smaller, faster, and cheaper on a steady cadence. Now it's getting smaller, faster, and way more expensive. In that world, they need AI for performance, says Zubair. And a 5 bomb from Ruthless Blaxican. He doesn't just renew his membership, he bumps us just a little teeny bit closer. 489. Oh, it's within reach. We're 11 away. Just a bit late. Can I get a full recap of the lineup, please? We talked about how Ubisoft has entered into a subsidiary agreement with Tencent to protect Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. There are still concerns looming about layoffs, as this is maybe a temporary stay of execution, but it is also going to lead to a restructuring, which is a sad tale, but it should help at least ensure that some of the property and some of the studios are protected. We also talked about a PSSR update coming to Assassin's Creed Shadows in the future, and a single from Gambit Zero, and a renewal from Javier Cotto. 27 months. It's nice and great being here for 27 months. Thank you so much, Javier Cotto. And we're a 10 bomb away from the goal. And then we also talked about how Intergalactic is slated for 2027, which I thought seemed weird since they showed what felt like in-engine gameplay or actual gameplay. There was a debate about that. That's not that important, but I felt like the game was slated for earlier than Saros, and Saros came out as a trailer later, and Saros is slated for next year. But apparently Intergalactic is not coming until 2027, according to Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, and we had a bit of a debate about that because I feel like the timeline was quicker, but people were saying, no, it is probably not. We don't really know. There you go. We got 3 minutes. And Silu with the 5 bomb. We're a 5 bomb away from maintaining the streak of hitting the goal every dadgum week. It's what we do here. Thank you so much, Silu. No disrespect, of course, says Lobo. I'm not familiar with PC gaming. What settings do you usually game on using your 5090? He says max settings at 4K. Even on the NVIDIA site, they focus on AI upscaling benchmark, says Hadigan. Wired Rope, I love you. You've been around a long time. You're not being toxic. I got to tell you, you're a bit of an anomaly here, and I think that's okay, but you have to see. You have to see. And a 5 bomb comes in from Brandon, and there it is. That's the 500 we were hoping for. I owe you guys 15, and Behemoth's going to make it another one. He gets us to 505. There's no way you'll never do it. You'll never do it in 2 minutes. We're not getting to 600. I owe you guys some members. I'm going to do it on the premiere. We're going to go to a premiere in 2 minutes, right? We are going to a premiere in 2 minutes. It's absolutely accurate to say that the improvement in the 50 generation architecture was focused on AI improvements. That's why we're seeing no bump in gaming. We aren't the audience. I'm going to spam a link in chat in just a few moments. There's no way in 2 minutes we hit 600. That's the stretch that Behemoth just pushed us for. That's fine. You guys did it. You did what we needed to do this week. We crushed it. We're going to stream in a little bit with Hilly and play some Split Fiction. That's for members only. We're going to stream tonight some community game night with some Jackbox with Madam, my wife. That's for members. So make sure you guys are here for that. We're going to go to a video here in just a moment about Assassin's Creed Shadows is not what you think. It's not what you think. One of these days I'll get a membership. You guys are seeing these gray names get passed over and they're not getting memberships. Listen, I'm here to tell you, you got to pick up your own membership and make room for these folks. There are folks that can't afford it. I'm going to feature the video on the channel. It's going to go live in probably the next 30 seconds. And then we're going to head over to it. Thank you guys so much for another incredible week. If you don't come to the Hilly stream or the stream tonight with Madam, I hope you have a great weekend. Don't forget, the IRL Reverse Seer Stake stream is next week on the 5th. April the 5th at 5 o'clock. It's a Saturday. That's next week. Make sure to not be on a branded account. Yeah, that does seem to affect it. All right, guys, redirect is unreliable, okay? Instead of going to this next video and complaining about redirects not working, okay? Instead of complaining about that, click the link in chat instead. If you don't click the link, you're trusting redirect and it's unreliable, okay? You personally cannot afford, can't afford to not have the membership. That's right. All right, I'll see you guys over there in the AC Shadows video. Get over there and go crazy with the likes. I owe you 20 members and I'm going to do it over there.